Hello, and welcome to another edition of Sarah Media Live on YouTube and Facebook. And welcome to the Wednesday program where we switch to Thursday when how they go inside the Republic. Well, the reason we switch from Wednesday to Thursday because a lot has been happening within the past couple of days for Meet Up the bank holiday and for Meet Up Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Working officially gets with program where we can do when how they go inside the Republic. If you just joined me for the first time, like the page, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and share this program because we get a lot for talk about today. We believe, say, a lot has happened within the past couple of days. We've seen some dramatic events that will happen in Sierra Leone and out of Sierra Leone and in the UK specifically. So today, we can't talk about so many things that will don't happen during the weekend. We will for analyze. So the topic for today's program is analyzing presidential candidate for the APC party, winner Dr. Samura Kamara's visit to the United Kingdom. But before we go any further, I would like to introduce to the man himself, the big Don, the Don of the Don of the Don. Today, the Don appear in a different style. But if anybody know what's in the Don appear with, make a guess, then I provide them one of these media baseball cap. And again, 5 seconds before ever I introduce them. So 5 seconds starts now. Anybody will know how they done they appear today, please put them in the chat. Then I'll give you one of these media baseball cap. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They done. I don't get
Hello.
Welcome
hello, Pambulem. Una good afternoon, good evening, good morning, and good night, depending on whose part you find yourself na the dunya. Welcome to Sergem Media's How They Go Inside the Republic, live on Facebook and YouTube. We appreciate Una and hope say we will get a wonderful program today. Una no meant T-boy like provoking business, but you know, 9 are done, so they elect for pass. Forgive me bad name, but I ready for take the bad name. We appreciate you all, and like T-Boy stated, it's been a busy 1.5 week since we left on Wednesday, and so a lot to discuss about Sierra Leone and the upcoming elections and things around the elections, but more so possibly we'll therefore focus on activities we happen outside the shores of Sierra Leone, but still relevant and get a big impact on the election process as we count down. It's about 40-something days to go before June 24th. So it's going to be politics, and politics. Over to you, T-Boy.
Well, thank you very much, Didon. Mikoto Juma, not to by Boskulu, not just Mikoto. And not to by age, not just Mikoto. Again, welcome for see you back in the beginning of how they go inside the Republic. We never say over the past couple of weeks we've been to get you on board, but now like I don't want with the program go far. That's the time you appears. But this time around, I don't say you wait see you ready for come on time. No for say this today no problem. Viewers, this is the very first time today we're having just a topic of discussion on the program. Nothing more, nothing less, just the topic, analyzing Dr. Samura Kamara's visit to the UK. Koto, what do you think about the program schedule for today? How comes we only get one topic of discussion? Inside how they go inside the Republic, we can get like a series of discussions they already put together and we analyze them all. But today we choose for do one. Why do you think we choose to do that? Is it because of the jam-packed activities that we have for analyze, or you feel to say we don't want to do justice to videos them for tonight's show?
I think say they live by the promises they will be don't make to people with viewers them all over the world. Telling them say we hold our leaders or potential leaders accountable, right? And for years, for 4.5, 5 years, every day, here we talk about issues, and their issues then they lead USAI. So one particular name, Udat, His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio. And we can talk about opposition activities, but very little about the presidential candidates. until the APC McKinney Convention, who either elect the leader and presidential candidate Dr. Matthew Wilson Kamara, or lead them for the 2023 elections. So we talked about a couple of months ago, we came America, we analyzing trip to the US, but that was part of other topics. But today we single them out because we don't say election watch net, the program, they change as we go along. So, and I'm definitely sure viewers would like to listen to us, and we like for you from them as well, for their opinion on the opposition, the activities them surrounding and visit. So we analyze, we critique, we give you opinion on them. We'll possibly talk about the highs and the lows if there are any, and we go over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Juma. I believe your analysis don't make the points clear into what's in the discussion get for the all about today. But according to what Juma don't say, we analyze the presidential as flag bearer for APC. We do a tour to the UK. The tour was controversial in the first place. It was meant to be in the UK. Yeah, and we were told that he's not going to appear because of something will go wrong. We will not know exactly what it was. But there were so many rumors flying around. We speculate, say, oh, you need to come. I just want to. They make the delegate and come before. But eventually, then talk say it appear the Friday of the Wednesday way in some members of the delegate and come. So he actually came with a huge amount of people. We are free to say, come to the UK for the first time. This is the first time in 5 years, right?
Yes. Since the best of my knowledge, and if we're wrong, let me viewers then correct me. Since the 2018 elections, I think now the first time it's going to the United Kingdom. Yes.
Okay. So basically, it means a lot. It is a very significant event because we all don't see, say, ex-members of parliament and the ministers were banned from traveling out of Sierra Leone only if they take permission for do so. And in one of the people that also they're not yes, or the justice system or the court system thinks say yes, he should for travel too. I think you don't take a trip to few places them inside Africa and possibly around the world after sovereign state, and we forget an official invitation from the Commonwealth Secretariat. And also pending that visit, we been get the coronation, maybe they happen like a couple of days later during this bank holiday we passed. So the visit was much significant because we don't know exactly what was the context around the visit. One was either based on the Commonwealth or whether he was invited to attend the coronation of the crowning of the new king who don't get in the United Kingdom. So we were not too sure what was the purpose of the visit until eventually he appeared from nowhere. Let's say appeared from Guinea, and with the reason traveling via Guinea again. Now, one of the huge concerns, we possibly might be the chance. We're not saying that's the reason why he flew through Guinea. We're just anticipating. We not say flights from Sierra Leone is extremely high, and they don't put together so many other half tax they really on top. And traveling from Sierra Leone with struck delegates. We don't know whether that's the reason. There are other rumors to say his passport wasn't handed over on time. So again, that was the reason. But we don't know exactly what sort of confirmed information we go. They link we directly to that specific thing. Juma, do you have any kind of information regarding why in visit was postponed from Wednesday to Friday?
Well, before I go on, I see some comments in the chat group where they say transmission the break. We apologize for any technical issues and that we don't continue for the experience. We cost before even starts a little late. So give us thumbs up if you agree loud and clear, and if the break done. But we technical team they continue for work on that. To you, T-Boy, we hear a lot of speculations about the Dr. Samura Kamara trip to the United Kingdom, the process, who side pass, if they go, if not they go, all of that. There's been some controversial issues around in trip. Firstly, we know that Dr. Samura Kamara was in US by default. And was that in February or March? Yeah, I think it was in March, right? So he was in the US by default because of the pending court case. And then he go do the chance rebuilding thing. He ended up engaging Sierra Leoneans and, Congress and other global civil society organizations like National Democratic Institute and the Carter Center. And he went to Sierra Leone, went back to Sierra Leone with that triumphant welcome, right? That big welcome, we caused controversy, tear gas fire here and there. And we hear so much, we see so much press releases from police and all of that. And what was the thing? We hear them say, oh, Dr. Samura Kamara and the only passport, now we get passport, now they travel. So at that time, a lot of people, they don't give up, say, well, that'll be the last. They will not be traveling outside Sierra Leone until after the elections. So we call them rolling passports. And for let this come for people, Dr. Samura Kamara and majority of the that we serve now the last government, according to this government here, so then put them now on what you call persons of interest, political interest. So then they all them passport, they all be the go commissions of inquiry, either them they go directly or their lawyers and they go represent them. So if they needed to travel, they have to have then forget permission from the government through the Attorney General's office. Therefore, apply and therefore give them a full reason why they need for travel and therefore approve them for go. If not, to that, then they'll go. And the reason I mention is because we want to let people understand the basis behind this. So a lot of people, we get people who have been sick, we're not able to go out for medical attention and what you call, and they end up die because they're not getting them passport in time. One, two, you have others because they're all bank account and then freeze them bank account, them all the APC government officials, later they begin they release some, their own, but a lot of majority of them then still freeze them bank accounts and they hold them passports. They cannot travel until they get government clearance. So Dr. Samura Kamara was among those, and he may get the anti. So with him, me understand that he had some other engagements there. What was the nature of the engagement? I don't know. And then what happened? A prominent person by the name of Dr. Sylvia Blyden, we see a social media post in a name for say, oh, Dr. Samura Kamara was apprehended in Guinea by the Guinean government, so he's not able for travel. But the Sierra Leone embassy then, Julius Madabio, for go get a sit-down talk about the upcoming elections and make some commitment. So that was one purpose of his visit. We knew that he was supposed to be speaking at Chatham House, we're now one of the biggest think tank that we don't operate since 1920, and a big platform for talk, for policymakers, politicians, and development experts. Then collect for engage them, particularly people that are within our government. So those were the two main reasons for his visit. But then we saw with that other activities. So I want for left and day first and hand them over back to you. Then we will discuss the details and everything will happen and some other area that we concern in this conversation.
Thank you very much, Juma. That was an intense brief of your analysis, just the preamble of what's in you don't say so, summarize everything that happens possibly from Freetown to Conakry and to the UK with Dr. Samura Kamara and in delegation. I know right now everybody is hot, sitting, waiting to hear how we're going to analyze this entire trip. Well, the trip to us was meaningful, and I think say as a media house, it is our duty to make sure say we cover anything of this nature. And one thing I want to make we also understand is the fact that we president don't make series of trips them to the UK over the past couple of years. Unfortunately, none of those trips were actually community trips. They were only meant for either members of the SLPP political party or members of enclosed circle. We have not seen any public engagements, even a thank you tour to the people of London, especially Usai Ibindonde for the past 10, 15 years before he take up office as the president of the Republic of Sierra Leone. I think this not so question, but I think the president should have visited us in the UK and possibly put up a town hall meeting for say thank you to the people of Sierra Leone living in the UK. We don't necessarily, or they don't necessarily, or anybody else in the UK within a Sierra Union, not necessarily get for support SLP and tell them exactly what in envision and what he intend for do, how he could possibly want for make we support him if he definitely need our support, and how we able for work together collaboratively or develop Salon. But unfortunately, we did not have that opportunity to do so. And I remember 15 years back, we did exactly something like this with President Sijan Kaba when he making trip to the UK. We were at the embassy. We covered most of that events there, and we equally did the same with President Anes Baikoma's visit after he don't win the election for the first time when he came to London. He was traveling from London to China, and then he came back to London before he left for Freetown. So we cover all of that events because I think it's our duty for the people of Sierra Leone in the UK for me to know exactly what in the leaders and they can do when they come into London. I don't think it is not compulsory, but I think for any visit where an African leader make to any European country, usai members of Inkonski or citizens of Inkonski, then they if you not make an official visit to maybe a town hall, but there should be some amount of meet and greet, maybe at the High Commission or the embassy where the presidents they come off from. But we've never had any of those opportunities in the past 5 years from President Julius Madabio. I'm not making a comparison, but I think one of the highlights of this particular trip to the UK, now what's in Dr. Samura do, but we believe say it should be an element of discussion based on the fact that we have an upcoming election that has been deemed to be possibly violent or deemed to be weak either by sitting or the opposition or deemed to be controversial in so many different ways. So again, we're not too sure what was the purpose of that specific visit from the Commonwealth. So we judge things go back and forth. But we see when Dr. Samura Kamara come, first night in delegation, then come about 7 or 8 of them. The first team will come with possibly 3 or 4 of former presidential aspirants, flag bearer, they will come with them as well. And then you have the deputy secretary general, deputy chairman of the party. And then you get other stakeholders then within the party structure will also make that trip. And I was thinking, okay, why do we have all of this delegation here? And what's the purpose of their visit? And after like day one on Wednesday, when they appeared, I asked a couple of questions and I asked them, what's the purpose of your visit? Why are you here? And what's in the benefits of you coming to the UK with Dr. Samura for the first time? And why is he not here? Because again, it's very good for me to know the reason why he wasn't around. And according to the discussion we get on a live broadcast, again, is out there for the public to watch. Now the fact say, well, Dr. Samura gets few engagement, they will get for good in Conakry, and the engagement in Conakry, actually, he had a VIP ushering from the port outside the boats left them to the airport. But by the time they got to the airport, his flight was just taking off. So basically, he missed his flight just by a margin. But at the end of the day, we definitely realized that was one of many other reasons that we didn't see happen. But let's take whatever the situation might be like, but let's look at it from a very positive angle that eventually he made his trip to London. And in trip to London was well attended by members of the APC political party membership within London, and then gave him a warm welcome. From there on, he head to the masjid and he go conduct him Friday prayers, and he move on to other activities that we even need for engaging. And subsequently, he gets the meet and greets the civilian community, specifically in the Southeast. Juma, what thing you take? I know so you've not been to London or witness that particular scene there. What's your take on the meet and greet the community? How would you actually analyze that particular journey there?
Well, again, Malek, for go back small, you highlighted, because you say we're not for make comparison, but we get for make comparison, you know, and you get for look at trends and patterns here. You mentioned, say, the late President Kaba, may so rest in peace. When he went to the UK at the time, he made sure he engaged the Sierra Leonean diaspora in the UK, right? Dr. Anes Kroma, as soon as he win elections, in first trip to the UK, there was a town hall meeting at the Damilola Center, right? For Sierra Leoneans, not APC supporters. I want to let people understand the difference. So you don't get the opportunity all the time to engage people in the diaspora, but they have a thing or two to contribute. Then get something where they go talk, we go remind you. And the diaspora is a big part of moving Sierra Leone forward and making sure, say, they help for sustain Sierra Leone. The remittance is sent to Sierra Leone from the diaspora. A big part the money where World Bank, IMF, ADB, all the international partners and bilateral organizations then put together to give Sierra Leone. Because it's constant, right? That you they send every day, every other day, every week. And this not cash you they send. And that cash they waiting. They revolve inside, they circle back and front, you know, inside the country on a daily basis. Whereas the money where they come up from the international partners comes on paper. Sometimes they don't sign an RTA, say then they give 20 million now over 5-year period. By the time we get them, it all late for which you be needed. But we help for sustain families. We are breadwinners for so many people. You understand? We they make the economy go around. We they do businesses out there. We they invest in so many ways them. So the remittance is where they come up from diasporans, the money where they send us alone or investment where they put the Ibokupas, all the money where World Bank, IMF, they all they put together for this alone. So you want to make sure, say, you encourage and engage them people here so forget their voice. There is time to be partisan and there is time to be nationalistic. Waiting President Bill Showy, since he was in opposition, not when he became president, even when he did in opposition, he not ever engaged the Sierra Leonean community. He engaged SLPP members or both school. Okay, because they believe they get ties with. He not ever in opposition as well as in governance. So, Dr. Samura Kamara came, he got that warm welcome at the airport. The first thing we do on a Friday, most people will do what? They'll go to their hotel and say, oh, I'm tired. It's straight going outside. The mosques where then they refer to as waiting, Salon Mosque, when are the Brixton, North Brixton Road Mosque, when are the majority of Sierra Leoneans and they pray, and it has been established as a Sierra Leonean mosque because every activity bearing Pulnado, married, you know, Sarah, anything. Now the majority of Sierra Leoneans and they go do. Correct? So he did that on the same Friday, few hours where he landed in the UK. So he prioritized Sierra Leoneans outside Sierra Leone. And he go to the community event soon. But on Sunday, he did not fail. He went to church, Usai, na Salon Church, Walworth Methodist Church, right? Where people in the refer to as Salon Church. Not to Sierra Leoneans, they know the worship day, but we don't identify with that church day. SLPP people, they go there. NGC people, they go there. C4C, they go there. APC, they go there. You name it. The pastor or the reverend, not to Sierra Leonean right now, right? We all see the person we preach on the day, not to Sierra Leonean. Now it's man, but now that church there we don't buy as we own as a Sierra Leonean church. He went there on the Sunday. He should have just gone to his Catholic church quietly, early mass, and commodity. But he wanted to worship with Sierra Leoneans. Now the heart of Southeast, where then the class say, Yaso, na the Sierra Leonean community. Now we based down there. If you want to say we get country inside UK, Southwark is our country as Sierra Leoneans. Now then you get majority of Sierra Leoneans. You know, that's one. Because if I don't say, go do Alimasla, go rest, then I'll go meet community town hall. I'll just go meet salon people and the law talk will come out. But he prioritized people. Then let's go to the Saturday community engagement event. You see, the Meet the People tour is powerful because Dr. Samura Kamara keep telling us, say what? He's going to be a servant leader, right? He is ready to lead. So he did what? He go outside the people and he not only call them sons. I say, me they come to now, let we engage because you have something to say. You have something to contribute. And I listened briefly, the woman at the shop, Auntie Agnes is her name? T-boy?
Which specific shop? Because he went
to the woman where pulling passport them for show say.
Okay. I forget your name. God.
So it's either Auntie Agnes.
No, it's not Agnes. I don't forget your name.
Okay.
I'll go my name. I'll come back to
apologize, whatever her name is. If you not know the chat, please what you call them on remind me. But this woman talk, she highlighted what? Two things or three most important things. One is say, if you win, and not say me that you support us. He say, if you win, we want water. If you win, we want light. If you win, we don't want revenge. We want let you bring we country together. Right? Three important.
Augusta is her name.
Thank you, Auntie Augusta. Three important things. And waiting Dr. Samura Kamara identify with Auntie Augusta is a stakeholder within the Sierra Leonean community now in business area because he say it was Christmas and day. It where people and get police case where they get problem and they can intervene. So it's not just a shop, it's a community. And Dr. Samura Kamara was able to engage Auntie Augusta in business place and everybody else. He talked to them. So he did that now every place, even places that you want to identify, say, oh, this is an SLPP spot. Dr. Samura Kamara went there because he went to see Sierra Leoneans. He listened to them. He know them challenges, the way that they bring their markets come. If me and you, they talk about local content, and we say we want for sheep produce out of Sierra, who say the sheep up? Not to salon people and they go bring and come. So they established to and the constraints where then they forget things, plazas from salon for Ghana, England, for example. That they don't have Dr. Samura Kamara in mind. And people will hold him accountable if he becomes president and not address their issue then because now it's not of you not knowing, but you know, but you refuse. Example, T-boy. Last year, we get people that will go on strike. Them, the business community in Atom, right? Waiting the president say we then go meet him. He said at the first term in the year bodies. So he made an excuse okay, for pulling aid. That shows say, even in Sierra Leone, you are not engaging people. Because if you be the engaged people, say then strike the lock shop, the moment when you read the alarm, you don't call them one time to a meeting, say what is going on. Or you call your people the way you put in charge for ask them. So Dr. Samura Kamara has demonstrated that I care, I want to meet you. I don't want you to come meet me, not to behind the desk president with the expect. He don't be behind the desk for 40 years. Now he fold his sleeve, say he wants to work. So it was a huge impact for make sure say he go out. And there's another thing, possibly will not come out now the media. A Sierra Leonean, popular Sierra Leonean, may his soul rest in peace, we don't contribute so much in any little way to the Sierra Leonean community, when are the late Madani Din Gabisi. Dr. Samura Kamara prioritized it to go and pay his condolences to the family of the late Madani Din Gabisi. No, I don't talk this about politics, but you want for sure we pausing here. President Bio is in England the same time where Dr. Samura Kamara did it. Did he even think of that? He did not, because for him, the only people who matter now in face are SLPP people, in party them, somebody we believe in. Because if you don't tell we say, he only they work with people them where he trust and believe. So he not trust the Sierra Leonean community, he only trust SLPP and Paupa people there. But even this time, he hide from them. He hide. Now smuggle go, President Bill smuggle go England. We will talk about the meeting where they're supposed for hold, where it happen or it not happen. But that's why I wanted to say, for me, it was a great impact. It was timely. It's very important, because whatever constraints them people in the face, Dr. Samura Kamara don't get that information there firsthand. And just for go back, because we made reference to President Bio when he was in opposition, in 2017, when Dr. Samura Kamara went to the UK, he held a meeting with Sierra Leoneans again. Remember? He had a meeting with Sierra Leoneans. Not maybe, do the kind tour we do this time, but he been get a meeting where they host a fundraising for him. That was done in 2017. It was done again this time. But with President Bill, all we two don't see, even SLPP people are not invited to Paupa events, where JMB women and associates they organize. So even within your place, there are divisions of events. Where JMB they organize, SLPP people are not invited. You have to be JMB women and associates for the part of it. So I'll left on it first.
Well, Juma, the analysis will make it quite clear, because as you talk, it come into my mind frame thinking, well, okay, hold on a sec. Make I do a flashback and really think when President Julius Maada Bio actually gets a public engagement in the UK, where he comprises of the entire population of Sierra Leoneans living in the UK. I'm not a member of any. And I'm going back maybe, I would say 15 years down the line or 20 years down the line. Before 2018, not 2018 election. Yeah, I think before 2018 election, before the flag bearers 2018 election, I think he held a meeting of all controlled, but that was not for the community. It was for SLPP members who also been the double, because at the end they begin to get the fractions of KKY don't begin for emerge. So basically, he wanted to speak to the SLPP community to let them know that he's ready to lead and he's ready to unite the party, even though they may get all the different flaws they also don't they exist. I think that was the reason for that particular meeting. I attended that event, and I think apart from that event, I don't attend few more. Yeah, they were all them doing all control.
It wasn't a Sierra Leonean event.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's not. It was a Sierra Leonean event, but specifically for the SLPP political party.
Well, not a Sierra Leonean event. Me they tell you, so not random saying a Sierra Leonean event, but meant for SLPP.
Okay.
It was not a Sierra Leonean event. When Samura Kamara did a Sierra Leonean event, they call it a town hall meeting with Sierra Leoneans.
Okay. Not to that kind comparison they identify for makers. Now the comparison is for make. Now the fact say I did do a flashback for like a member when President Bio don't get any engagement with the community, whether be it's SLPP, Sierra Leone, or whichever community you might say it is. I only remember of that particular one day where now been a meeting for unify the SLPP Pacific because they don't begin hearing rumors of NGC or emerge, and then they talk about the potential of various different flag bearer aspirants and we don't ready for commot. So that was not a Sierra Leonean engagement. It was meant for SLPP. But when you don't bring this...
Hold on quickly before you go far. Thank you so much, Beatrice Thompson. So according to Beatrice, that President Bio did one meeting at Walworth Methodist Church after the 2018 elections. Can you confirm that, Steve? Before me comment.
I'm not a member of any. What time was that? Because 2018 elections, I think. 2018 elections. After 2018 election, did that event happen 2019? Because we were all in Freetown with President Julius Maada Bio till possibly July maybe fly camp. So basically, I left Salon still. But
so
I'm
let me help Beatrice.
Okay.
You might think it was a what do you call it? A meeting with the Sierra Leonean community. It was not, because it was by invitation only. And who dishes out invitation? Now people, who do you dish out the invitation to? Now people where you sabi. So it comes back to the same thing. This event, what they talk about, was an open event, open invitation to Sierra Leoneans. It's either you choose to go or you choose not to go, but it was an open invitation. This one, what you talk about, it was an event that was specifically for people that are invited to go to Walworth Methodist Church. There has never, ever been an event for Sierra Leoneans in the last 5 years where President Bio don't host or attend. Never. Even in church, where you go. Whose church where you go? Where you go, England? Where that guy chase her with the...
okay, it was the Church of England, I think. It was one of the Church of England.
Somewhere. Compound where Salon people are not sabi.
I think it was in West London.
Correct. So, far, and they go church. Not within the Sierra Leonean community. He has visited the UK how many times within the past 5 years? Over 10
can't remember.
times.
A lot.
Over 10. This is sitting president. He's not able for all one. Me go tell you how many events under the APC where APC don't host. Me self don't attend at least 2 now Walworth Methodist Church where they come for engage the diaspora. One, Alpha Khan was there and other people, then the Damilola Taylor Center one where President Kuma being attend. So I agree with you, it may come across as, but it was not an open invite for Sierra Leoneans. Never had he hosted or they host an event on in behalf for Sierra Leoneans. It's either for APC members, for SLPP members, or JMB Women's and Associates. Now they no more the host events. Even in the United States, the first events, when a UN event, where it come, where they say it host an event for Sierra Leoneans, we see them boot out, them bundle Sierra Leoneans, we go out there, where they identify, say this to SLPP members, then they say that spy, then go for good spy. Now in New York, where can the UN General Assembly enforce UN General Assembly? After that, the only event the way they host, now they host them. He hosted one event where he say, now for engage people and for talk about free quality education in America. And even that was by invitation for specific people then. Over to you.
Well, say yourself don't highlight, say, yes, he had an event in the UK and they all went there. I don't know which particular event anyway, say, and they try for highlight to me. But like you, they say no more. Me now one person we don't attend, possibly all, either all or maybe majority of SLPP activities that we don't happen in the UK for the past 20 years. And 99% of them I have been invited to attend. Let her clarify one or two things. The time where the president come for the business engagements where it for put together, I was invited. So basically, if I wasn't invited, it would have been a struggle for me to attend. But I was invited, I had an invitation, and I had an accreditation to cover it. The second one where you do now the church now somewhere in North London again, I was invited. I had an invitation and I was asked to attend. So I attended that event as well and I covered it. I think the reason why we describe for emphasize on the fact, say, most of these activities are based on invitation. It was not an open invitation because on that particular day where he held the church meeting where they get for go launch the Lungi Bridge, I was there. There was some amount of APCians that were outside the church protesting. So basically, he walked through the back entrance of the church and he left through the back entrance of the church because I was there till everything finished off anyway. But we discussed for create this kind of atmosphere of public engagement. We all know when Anes Baikroma been just don't take power office when he came London for the first time, he had a town hall meeting at Damilola Center. And it was meant for the entire community. But also, for just go back and clarify, say there hasn't been a public engagement within the Sierra Leonean community from the direct government institution in the UK. To be specific, I would say independence. Independence celebration has not been put together in this country for almost 5 years. And I keep asking, but guess what? They do hold an independence celebration in the UK, but for invited members only.
Exactly.
And me specifically, I have complained like a million times. An independence celebration in the UK is for Sierra Leoneans. It's for Sierra Leoneans. And I don't hold the embassy accountable to that many, many times. I don't have to be part of the organizing team. I don't have to be part of anything. But I know for sure if the embassy is doing anything that will invite the community to come, whether big or small, the embassy don't always use for host Sierra Leoneans them at an Independence Day celebration. Even if they say, oh, well, we not get money for go take all, we go to the embassy, they will go celebrate on it because we are all Sierra Leoneans. And we've been doing that religiously for the past 20 years. But within the past 5 years, we have not celebrated any independence activity in the UK for Sierra Leoneans. But every year, then they still celebrate them in their own small corners and call few people in for come for attend. So what in me this guy for look at now, why the president not ever try for engage Sierra Leoneans in the diaspora, especially in the UK, Usaibinde? Because it's very important. No matter how many people they don't like them or they like them, but I think it will be of great benefit for make we able for see what in he want for can do and what in he do. And the thing were amazingly shocking me as well, now the fact say the diaspora was irrelevant in his government because what make I say so, there was an office of the diaspora women in a state house we don't exist for maybe 10 years. And during that 10 years, and they say it was a perfect office. Of course, there were so many people and we impossibly want to go salon and engage in business. So basically, that was an entity that was taken away from this new government. We're not giving no priority, no preference, no nothing. And like Ajuma said earlier on, the diaspora is one of the biggest contributors to Sierra Leone's economy. No matter how you look at them, the remittance will send back home is 10 times more than the IMF support we get from the IMF. So we get for be in a position where we get for get some amount of value. And that value they will defect for is not just for myself or for Juma or for Femi, it's for all Sierra Leoneans. Because if we have an opportunity as a diaspora for create any impact in a salon, Now every Sierra Leonean will benefit from that. So now that's my own concern for say, why has the president hasn't been able to engage with Sierra Leoneans in the UK, with the diaspora? We don't see any of those engagements in the past 5 years. So let's look at this as one of the things that we have to say, Dr. Samura Kamara don't do. Where sometimes what thing that you don't can say, we go able for all accountable to that if he take office. Because what thing he say on that tour around Peckham and all the other restaurants the way he attend, where he visits, it make him clear, say, okay, these are some of the people who are making contributions to Sierra Leone, because all the food sellers, the way they, na Peckham, for example, then they buy them products from where? Sierra Leone.
And then get stalled
then
them
gets other links them back in a salon. So basically, when you look at that productively, we go able for exports with goods and services to the UK or wherever we are, we're not going to be a problem. Because if we get market now, so they sell plazas, it means the plazas get for be grown where? In Sierra Leone, Makeni, Kabbalah, Bo, Kenema, wherever it is. Now, income for them particular people, then they really grow that plazas there, because they get for put them together. Okay. Now, let's say we get huge amounts of tax so they pay now for flights for go salon. And it'll take we roughly about a week or two before we get to produce them, come to the UK as cargo. If you get perishable goods, then for example, sweet sharp, mango, pawpaw, or anything where you fit the so able for flight come to London, and it take 1 week na flight, the heat alone don't pull our products there. Because we not get direct flights when they come off from salon. And if we do get flights when they come off from salon, we get to pay huge amounts of money for like we transport with food stuff them for come into the UK. And if we don't pay that high amount of tax there from Sierra Leone, we can't pay tax back in London. Plus also for they buy £1 now don't go to £2.50. Now it's even £3. So the cost of living for we own natural product that we get from salon is going to be skyrocketed high because we pay too much tax for them. And it has for make we get fresh plazas now from salon. So where does our food stuff come from? Gambia. Yeah. So we get now Gambia cassava leaf, Gambia potato leaf, and Gambia cream. Why? Because it's easy to get them product than they from Gambia. So who benefited with the foreign currency exchange? So we get to look at them things that's very seriously. So if we not get a president who they come and engage with the local traders they will get in a salon, then we will struggle within the next couple of years to come. Because now they suck black diamonds almost every other day because of the weather system. Possibly I get cold all the time. Who's how they pull black diamonds? And then they get on no side apart from salon. So basically, if we begin look at them things, so we take them very seriously and we leaders them for engage with we as a community and make we relevant, then we go for put across the case to them say, when you go now office, if you take power, you win this next election. Feel that, make Intel win what's in see.
And T-Boy, you see, Alec, what's not the woman name, Auntie Augusta, right?
Augusta, yes, that's correct.
You see, just now for the benefit of viewers, them we possibly not look at the thing from Usaudi look at her. We don't have a problem with President's bill or anybody meeting with party members. But when you make something like that, you they restrict people, they make them feel comfortable. You hear how Auntie Augusta been they talk to Dr. Samura Kamara. He said, I want you listen me well. I want you listen. I don't want you forget. He was talking to another human being, not to somebody who feel too superior over them, where if he said and go they mark in face, say this way, see come on, I do, then they send somebody and go box them, pulling teeth them. She felt comfortable now in store where they talk to Dr. Samura Kamara. That is the engagement we are talking about. She highlighted the issue, he advocates for people them, and even caution for things them. She's not a politician, right? And I use them as an example because her statement was prominent. She is not a politician. She's a business person. When for decide, say, you know what, let's just sit on England, so I enjoy my pension money or my picking and support me. But she's within the community and she was still advocating. Say, I don't get any other country, but Sierra Leone. He go further for pulling passports then.
And Juma, you know why he decided for pulling passports, even though some people say, no pull them. But if I was there, I would have insisted for making pull them. But he did. What's he make he pulling passports then? Your opinion on that now, the fact say, okay, I want to make you understand, say, me na Sierra Leonean.
Yes.
Second thing. Because one, the person will be making at this country, is Timbuktu. I don't care this country, I don't want me picking them out some of their income. I am entitled to a British passport, but I choose not to because I want to be a true Sierra Leonean. I'm not saying the one that they choose for get British passport, they are not true Sierra Leoneans. I'm not saying that, but I just want to emphasize the fact that the belief and passion where he gets for become a Sierra Leonean, any kind of way where he feels to say he want for be, now the fact say he pledge in loyalty to that in passport day. He still believes say no matter what, I may have been in this country for 30 years, but that not changed me. Vow say I will forever remain to be a Sierra Leonean. That's for tell Dr. Samura Kamara say, don't look at us like we are British because we are not. We
exactly. So we are not outsiders. We are compatriots. We are colleagues.
Part of you.
We are brothers and sisters.
We get for be part of your agenda.
Right.
That's not the message. But I believe say if we be not try for engage President Julius Maada in this form, in this capacity, and they engage with we, I bet you most of the misleading things that they happen at Salon so possibly not.
That's exactly my point. When you engage with people, then you're able to change your mind. Say, so this is how people really, really feel about my government, or these are the things that I ignored that was so important to these people. But what you begin, oh, Samura Kamara go campaign na England to people they not get for votes.
Well, you might think these are people who don't have voting rights, but these are the voices of the people where they send remittance na salon, we will make the economy different, promoting the economy stand for.
We'll not go far,
if we not get the courage for votes, we should have the courage to invest.
Correct.
We don't have the courage to invest. We should have the courage to go and give our own professional support. Correct. No matter how you look at them. Then they say to we don't have the right to vote, so we are not meaningful. Are you accepting the fact that you are not meaningful just because you don't have the right to vote? So that not give no president the audacity for can't talk to you because you're not relevant?
But not go far.
Put yourself in that position.
People where they talk, say, Dr. Samura Kamara come, try engage and talk to people that we're not even relevant, we're not there for vote. But they fail to understand, they say, oh, President Bio, then at the ground, they waiting. President Bio don't travel how many? Over 110. What he said they go do? He said they go clean the country image, right? Overseas, than a one. He don't go London past 10 times. How many fundraising events they don't do for the past 5 years, T-boy? Where you can count, where you remember. He don't pass 10. Either him or in West. Now, outside they do them. Now, England, not so. In America.
Yep, that's correct.
And they do them fundraising events there. Where they charge big money for let people and go inside. So the diaspora is good for you to go and raise funds, but they are not good for you to engage, for let you hear how they say the thing where they happen at the country, how they impact them. Come on.
But Juma, guess what? Even the reality of the fundraising activities then with the first lady or the president don't put together within the past 6 months hasn't been successful. Why? Because the diaspora has been ignored. The diaspora has been neglected. The diaspora has been taken for granted. The diaspora, they're not getting voice for be heard, not any platform. So basically, what happens? Okay, you want our money, but you don't want to hear our voices. You want our money, but you don't want to listen to our opinion. You want our money, but you think we are irrelevant because we don't vote. It doesn't work like that. Because in the UK alone, if President Bio didn't really take people of the UK very seriously, they have been in full support of him for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
In any capacity. So we're not relevant. 10, 15 years ago, we were relevant, but now all of a sudden we aren't. And when you look at it in government, it's full of diaspora. But why would you select a few members of the diaspora and make them heads of parastatals or ministers or whatever it might be, and then you give a total blanket to the entire bit of the diaspora, but failing to realize one of those people that you're ignoring might be the ones that will help to change and add value to the economy of Sierra Leone. What if we all sit back and say, well, we're not interested? Or what if we all sit back and say, well, sorry, this president does not engage with us in the diaspora, so we don't have no interest in Sierra Leone? That is practically what is happening. That is what has happened for the past 5 years. How many investors that don't come in at this part of the world, when as Sierra Leoneans, they don't invest us alone? We've been made irrelevant by policies, by virtue of where we are and the fact that we don't vote. So we've been made irrelevant. So you tell me, why would I have the guts and courage to go and invest my hard money where I work for the past 20 years, for going to invest them in a government where they even recognize me, where they even raise tax against me, where they even say, well, okay, it's not a diaspora. Well, your price gets different from the one where they come out, waiting a salon. There's no encouragement. But we take this thing lightly because some people in the filter say it's political. It isn't political. It's facts. And the fact of the matter is we've been here for decades, some of us. Some people have been here for more than decades, but don't have the courtesy to go back home because there is no encouragement for us to go back home and invest. You want to tell me, say, money, man, and then this country when I see them? Of course they are. There are investors, the way they do housing investments. There are people where they do car investment. There people and they also where they go invest now in Ghana, Gambia, Senegal. Senegal is the new Africa or the new America for Africans in the diaspora. Senegal, because why? They open up their atmosphere and encourage people then for come invest. In Gambia, is equally the same. Gambia has changed slightly, but now every Sierra Leonean that I know, proud Sierra Leoneans, are owning houses now in Ghana. Then they own house in Ghana, not so bad in the Bible, they build from scratch. And not one, not two, or lots that I know. Why? Because there is not an environment in Sierra Leone that can encourage us as a diaspora to go and invest. The one that maybe they build us now salon. You tell me how many people that you know right now are still building houses in Sierra Leone from the diaspora? Very few. And who are those few? The ones that are involved in government. It wasn't like that 15, 20 years ago. It wasn't. And what seemed to happen, for the fact that those infrastructures has been raising up, it creates jobs. It creates business environments for people to invest in building materials. But when all of that just collapsed all of a sudden, it becomes a struggle. Now, it don't be saying now, any salon man from the diaspora who want for build house now, he got forgotten for 6 months. He puts in money outside the Siam. It wasn't like that because you trust the builder. But now you don't even trust nobody in Sierra Leone. So you get for follow you money, you sit down there, but it costs you more money because you're not in the UK or wherever you are from to make more money so that you're able to go invest. So the 6 months when you go take that salon for bill you owes, just because you know made an EP off, you don't lost 6 months of payment from wherever you're coming from. So let we think. We not just need for can begin jump and say politics, this politics, that. It's got nothing to do with that. Now, the fact of the matter is we need to have people in authority that should be able to engage us regardless of our political beliefs, regardless of our geographical location in terms of where you're from in Sierra Leone, regardless of your religion, and regardless of your gender. We forget an open playing field wherein every Sierra Leonean will be able to come and participate and add to the development of Sierra Leone. So Dr. Samura Kamara visit to the UK, it might seem to be like now rubbish, but guess what? He might have changed the mindset of so many people in the diaspora. We possibly go believe to say, well, okay, if this man can come down to a level and engage we, we're not ever living in London for the past 10 years or if this man can come to a level and work out with we, and even drink with ginger beer them, and even eat we cake them. Okay, if this man can come to London, he work out with we on the rain. If this man can come to London, he decide for visit almost all the joints then where they very close to him. There are lots of other places that he did not go. Why? Because maybe you did not have enough time to do all of that.
Right. So Tibo,
yeah, go ahead. I think they appreciated him so much that he even paid a courtesy call to their business places. So you might trivialize them, say, oh, it's crap, it's rubbish, not cheap stuff. But guess what? Politics is about engaging with your people. And if you don't engage with them, I don't understand what politics you want to play. You cannot put a boundary, or you cannot differentiate between the people that you're supposed to be engaging with just because they don't support your idea, just because they don't belong to the same school that you attend to, just because they don't belong to your tribe, just because they don't belong to anything where govern what you feel to say you believe in. I think that is wrong.
Right. So Tibo, you been there in close proximity during the meet the people tour, community engagement. Before we can talk about in other high profile engagements with the House of Commons, the House of Lords, what do you call the place? The Chatham House. We can talk about that later. But for right now, waiting are the things that will stand out. How you see Dr. Samura Kamara, because you've been there closer to you cover this event. What did you see? What is he now somebody relaxed, now somebody they crack joke? Is he too serious? Whose kind of personality be?
Well, I have seen him
specifically on the Saturday, the event.
Okay, before I come on Saturday, let me make a few comparisons of how we don't see him over the past couple of years or 2018 election, of how much confidence he don't grow within the shortest period of time. I think his visit on Saturday was remarkable. As far as I'm concerned, I've never seen him that relaxed. I've never seen him in a confident state at which he address people. Man, like Juma, I've been all me and me at not expecting. Fact. Fact. I've been all me and me at. I'm not going to tell you, say, me a hardcore Samura Kamara fan. No. I am hardcore civilian and we believe in policies and principles and ideologies, right? And one of the reasons we make, I don't do politics with particulars, now because I have my own way of thinking. My ideology is my ideology. And if you want to win me over with your ideology, I have to be convinced.
Right. Yeah.
What did I see on Dr. Samura Kamara on Saturday?
That one I do the
and I don't ever see that. That's my one. And
what does that mean? You not ever see that? What does it mean?
It means I've never seen him that comfortable in an environment that was possibly going to be hostile to him, because we all know how
who shop where they go, who they go talk to.
Thank you. Yeah. In an environment that is likely going to be hostile to him. And he felt so relaxed. And security-wise, there was not much to complain. There was no security. He was just walking down the streets of London as an average civilian who is not even a presidential candidate. And when we get to the Hearts of Peckham, people let me go and say, who are this person? What do you mean people in Converge now? Well, from the airport first. The airport was so unique that hostesses, and people who were like serving at the airport, as in airport wardens, came to do photo shoot opportunities with him. And I'm thinking, okay, he's not the president yet. Why do you think you should come and take a picture with him and all that stuff? So basically, it creates a different atmosphere for people who are not even civilians then. The airport wardens, hostesses, autograph. And I'm thinking, okay. And everybody else within the airport, they ask, say, what are these? What in the people are so can do now? And when I do one of the interviews then before he arrived, somebody there will be sit down at one of the restaurants like Cafe them, where you are the interview somebody, the person talks, say, oh, we are waiting for a presidential candidate. And the person waited extra return because that person was a union. And then he asked, oh, is the president coming? And I said, no, it's not the president. It's just president. It's the presidential flag, presidential candidate. So basically, the atmosphere for me at the town hall event was unique. I see Dr. Samura Kamara relaxed. I've never seen him that relaxed before. I saw him as a composed politician who now talks about issues. He addresses few issues. I will not agree and disagree with everything that he says, but as far as I'm concerned, I haven't seen him in that state since after or even before 2018. And what he exercised on that day, now the fact say he come and talk to civil unions, then he break down what's in he don't do. Now the first thing first way to me be important because we keep asking all those questions all the time. And even people in the chat, they ask, what's in Dr. Samura don't do in 40 years service to civilian? What's in he don't benefit civilians? I think he break it down for us on that day by telling us how he end up with the first job where he gets, what's in he do that job day, how he helped for develop the economy, the infrastructural thing, the way he puts together. People keep ranting around, say, oh, Tijan Kaba, they don't build all those institutions. But he built those institutions alongside Samura Kamara, who was one of the architects. Very few people knows about that. And he make it clear on that they say, I am one of the people that puts together all the policies they are so way with the most of so today. But you know why he will get the praise? Because he wasn't the president.
Right.
So basically, he was a servant of the people of Sierra Leone and also serving under President late Tijan Kaba, may his soul rest in peace. So you know what give Samura Kamara that credits the not at all, not in this world. Because if under Tijan Kaba internal, Salon be don't rise to the top of everything we think say we don't rise to. Would I forget the praise? Now the late Dr. Tijan Kaba. Because now doing internal of office, then Salon benefits all anything in it. So when Dr. Samura Kamara begin analyze some of the work that you don't do with the late Tijan Kaba and all those institutions that he helped to build, then you go understand where he's coming from. So now my question to him now, you know, we don't sit down at the office when you are the last man where they give the last order. If you have the opportunity now where you don't take now, so say you want to become the next president of the Republic of Sierra Leone, I am not expecting any lesser.
Right.
And there is not going to be time for make you say, oh, well, Una give me chance, because you don't get chance anymore. You don't get it for 40 years. You know what the problems are. You've been able to solve the problems in the past. Now the problem they under your foot, you're able to solve them.
Well, see, boy, you see, when people sometimes and they can just be so biased. And you know, it's make I say this. When President Bio was campaigning, what was he campaigning on?
He campaigned on corruption and free education, free and quality education.
So ask him, what would he be campaigning?
He said in the ambassador for peace to Sierra Leone.
The father of democracy.
Father of democracy.
So this is what he said. He said he's been tried and tested because he don't be head of state. Right? In a father of democracy. So when he come not to start it, they can't start and learn again. So he told us that. But people never ask him, what have you done for Sierra Leone? But people are asking, what has Dr. Samura Kamara done in his 40 years service in the financial and economic sector? Now the highest.
You know why me not go contest that?
No. Why?
No one will contest that. There will come a time when we will put a program together. We'll make those two comparisons. What has Dr. Kamara done in 40 years, and what has Mother Bio done in 40 years?
Correct.
We put them parallel each other, and we make those comparisons. And then you now decide, Uda and the two people them don't work, we don't benefit Salon. Because the question they ask now, so to me, is simple. Dr. Samura Kamara worked in Salon for 40 years, agreed. Salon don't go down the drain for 40 years, agreed. What has President Julius Malaba done do for 40 years in Sierra Leone?
So
can anybody tell me what?
But now he's been there for 5 years. Let's forget it.
No. The 40 years important because
No,
Dr.
we'll go there
hasn't been in
where that
power.
term reach.
No, Samura Kamara no longer in power for 40 years.
You know, if I didn't have power.
You don't serve, thank you. You don't serve as a civil servant for 40 years.
Correct.
Also in the call the shots. He just puts together the policy papers and approved by who? The president of Sierra Leone then. Right. So we cannot make such comparison. Right. The only reason why we make such comparison, look, we make them if we put the all two together. Okay, what's in this don't do and what's in this don't do in 40 years, because you're not going to say Dr. Samura Kamara 40 years and you say President Julius Maada 5 years, because Dr. Samura Kamara never be president. Right. President Julius Maada don't be head of state and he don't be president now for 5 years. What has he done? Let's make this comparison. And let we not forget Baxi. In the successful days of the MPRC, who don't be the architect for that success than Dr. Samura Kamara, right? Right. Who said him pull him? Commonwealth. Out of retirement for come back. After he taking second appointment now the Commonwealth Secretariat. Yeah. So he come back in a salon for come salvage the economic disaster will be happen. And when he go after the MPRC, who da call him back for come? SLPP. Jankaba call him back for come. Say, no, me man, you get for come. No,
wait, make I know they say Jankaba go, they say SLPP government.
No, you see how they say Tijankaba. SLPP government, not to Tijankaba. Tijankaba was the president of Sierra Leone, so I can't say SLPP government.
No, it was an SLPP government. The reason
I agree. But Tijankaba not served as an SLPP leader. He served as a Sierra Leone president. So basically, I will give him that. For that reason, I'm not going to say that SLPP. Yes, is a SLPP-led government. I agree.
What's it make the reason we are talking to Sierra Leone with possibly no political history of Sierra Leone past 2018 or maybe 2012. So you get to let people understand, say, the late Dr. Ahmed Tijan Kaba was a president of Sierra Leone under an SLPP ticket. So now been SLPP government. The government was an SLPP government, and then I've been the incumbent. We call Samura Kamara now for can help build the economy of Sierra Leone.
Correct.
So you need for do that. People understand that, because people, you have people where they tell you, say, oh, Samura Kamara hates SLPP people, he hates Southeasterners. But we will come here and I just want to let people begin understand the bigger picture, say, look at yourself as Sierra Leonean rather than partisan. Because if you want to look at that, are you forgetting his contribution under an SLPP government?
Okay, I will agree with you on that. But again, the reason we cannot want to dwell too much on the party card thing, that because we look at
no, not party card, SLPP government.
Okay, the reason we cannot want to dwell on the SLPP government per se with President Tijan Kaba, may his soul rest in peace. Now the fact say he served as a Sierra Leonean, and then he served the Sierra Leonean people. We all see
serving as a Sierra Leonean.
I agree.
President Bill is serving as Sierra Leonean.
Well, yes, but not for the Sierra Leonean people.
Why not?
Yeah, but that's facts. He's serving as a Sierra Leonean because he's a Sierra Leonean, but not for the Sierra Leonean people.
Okay.
President Tijan Kaba served as a Sierra Leonean and for the Sierra Leonean people, because definitely some of the things that he overheard, where he not pay attention to. Now the fact say people were singing against his government. Corruption, all kinds of things come out against in government. So, and that was on what? Corruption, right? What did he say? He said, let them in and sing before they go to bush and take arms. That is the president that serves as a nation. He serves a nation. President Anes Baikoma, equally the same. President Anes Baikoma, 10 years ago, then cost him a pass all presidents alone.
But then cartoon and gear and horn, gear and drums.
Let we forget about the cartoon first. Then cost him a pass all presidents alone. Then I go make them categorically clear, because we even testify that again past some of the programs they will do, what would they say, oh, the president don't cost pass all presidents. Even more myself way we will be saving bad off. They don't cost him a rich and a schoomer. And guess what? What's happened? He pay attention to online services. He pay attention to social media. He pay attention to Facebook. No, he make it clear. Say, I am not paying attention to this what's not the word, man? Distractors. People the way they can distract me agenda. And then they pay attention to them. So they want to cost me mama, they want to cost me, they say at tifo, at this, at that, let's move on. I am working in the interest of civilians, so I work for the Salon people. But in that same period, how many people got arrested for making such abusive languages against Anes Bakroma? How many people were arrested for where Sylvia Blythe in turn and say Anes Komana a witch? A cartoon and put them down in headline front page of Awareness Times. How many people got arrested for that? And then they say Anes Bakroma was a perfect leader. No, definitely in government was corrupt because again, it gets corrupt practice of a minister then way right now then at this current administration where them they cost their own achievement them. So as far as I'm concerned, if you don't say okay, the previous President Julius Maada when he was in opposition, it cost Anes, well, it not cost, but he campaigned against Anes Bakroma and government say, then corrupt.
He writes letter to him say he corrupt. It is thief.
Directly. He corrupt. Them. They don't ruin salon economy. They don't do XYZ. And he specifically said this again a couple of days ago. They inherit a derailed economy by the Anes Bakroma government. Who was the vice president then?
Victor Fo.
Who was the Minister of Information and Minister of Mines then?
Alpha Khan.
So why are you putting those two people on the front line of your political position right now as one of the best people the way they can work with you for develop your economy? How can that be possible? So are we stupid as Sierra Leoneans? Then we thief man and we don't thief for the past 10 years are now legitimately clean that can help you to develop your agenda for change salon? That's my question I'm asking.
All right, we'll come to that.
Right up to a couple of days ago, President Julius Maada still emphasized on the fact say he inherits a damaged economy by the Anes Bakroma government. But that damaged economy we inherit from the Anes Bakroma government, now it gets the vice president, we work with that now closely. It gets the former minister of information, former minister of mines, and former minister of political and public affairs.
Presidential affairs.
So basically, how you want we believe say your government is going to change the next 5 years in Sierra Leone? Where you
and
get
this same person now again two
same people there so
a spokesman
and now you government spokesman. Now the mouthpiece of your government. Hello. Are we dumb as civilians, or we don't even know what we're thinking about or talking about, or even applied when it comes to politics? Are we playing politics by words? Are we that dumb? We Tiffman yesterday, not to Tiffman today. How comes? We corrupt politician yesterday, you not corrupt again because you're in a government. How comes? Where the people are we wreck salon, where we self agree. We agree, bang, say, and it's government, yes, corrupt. Now you don't employ as you front runners them for lead me back to where. So with those two comparisons, who do you think is corrupt now that we see both corrupt practice officials who we have doomed to be corrupt that have wrecked Sierra Leone for 10 years are now serving in your government as the front runners? So you want to we believe say things will change? You want to believe say those two people can actually develop their economy and make it better? I beg your pardon. Juma.
Okay, so let me go back to London. You know, I make Sergeant Media program this week, but you cannot discuss Dr. Samura Kamara in trip to the UK in isolation. You still get to make references to different things. So let's talk about his address to or in talk and engagement with Sierra Leoneans now the town hall meeting. What's your take?
What's in an reference? I guess that again?
The town hall meeting, Dr. Samura Kamara engagement, not the town hall meeting.
I think he engaged with the community well. I also believe, we not make sense because if we don't get enough time for do Q&A, there are many people who wants to express their concerns in certain areas that were not given the opportunity to do so. I feel the amount of feedback we don't get after the messages that we don't come out. There were a few negatives, that's not my concern. There were a few positive, each other as a nation. But move Salon go forward. It doesn't really matter whether President Samura Kamara win the next election. It doesn't really matter. What matters most. And the reason why I say that name matter most, it doesn't matter who the leader is. What happens in the next 5 years in Sierra Leone, and this next 5 years in Sierra Leone, this next election, we take like a Kalu election. But this next election, they ain't for determine whether some people ain't for go back salon or not. This next election, ain't for determine whether people ain't for invest in salon or not. This next election, ain't for determine whether people then believe say they will remain to be Sierra Leoneans or not. I'm not saying whether Dr. Samura Kamara will win or whether President Julius Malema will win. That is not what is important right now. Now, what thing gets for happen after June 24 is going to be the most important thing in the mindset of Sierra Leoneans who mean good for Sierra Leone.
But
so that's what they think of right now. So the message on the town hall event, to me, I think he expressed himself. What you say, you're able to live by that. Because if you're able to live by that, the next 5 years of Sierra Leone politics is going to be a different one. Because they don't make every individual we calling himself Sierra Leone and don't become aware of what in politics is all about now. Because most people have been shy away from politics. Oh, I don't want to get involved. Oh, not so my business. Oh, my papa. Whether you participate or not, whether you are active or not, your life depends on politics. Because the decisions made in parliament get for affect you. Made by the president, it get for affect you, whether you're in a salon or whether you're not in a salon. The decisions of the judiciary, they affect you. The decisions of the economic development, it affects you. The decisions of the laws of Sierra Leone will affect you. So summarize a message, and whether it will actualize a message if he ends to be the next president of Sierra Leone. And if it doesn't, we'll still watch and see what's in President Julius Malema, what he had to deliver to the people of Sierra Leone in the diaspora, in the UK specifically. He might not have the opportunity to do that in America because we're not able to see anything we're able to take.
Well, again, now 2 different times, different events under 2 different circumstances. He's coming to the US, so now under his own, volition he go. Whereas coming here, waiting all he go for do possibly able for do. But the event on Sunday, the town hall meeting with Dr. Samura Kamara all. Of course, like you don't highlight, get for affect me and you, they get for B. Now we get for decide who that person they get for B. Now we get for decide who that would they risk with country in hand. Now we get for decide who that would they risk with family in hand. Now we they decide who that would they risk with healthcare in hand. Now we they decide who that would they risk with economy in hand. Now we get for decide who that in hand we they put education, human development one at the country. So all of those things. So now we get for decide as Sierra Leoneans. And what I can say, the message is as good as the messenger. So if you get bad messenger, the message they well. If you get bad workman, no matter what kind of tools they will get, waiting they happen. Now broko bench now they make for you. So this is the time that you want for vote for, because we made that decision as Sierra Leoneans 2018. We decided then that no, we don't tire with waiting. The APC, we wanted change. Then we decide for handover with destiny and with country in our President Bio in hand. We are here now on June 24th to make a decision again and see, did President Bio deliver on behalf of the people of Sierra Leone? Did he deliver for the people of Sierra Leone? Did he deliver with the people of Sierra Leone? Now then question and they'll forget for the ask we serve. Dr. Samura Kamara not get the opportunity in 2018, but he's here again. We all know waiting it on, you know that he's a technocrat. And we had someone after military days has nothing on his resume to say this is what I did now in CV, now this work I do, and nothing, no, nothing to show for. But we risk we country now.
He was a farmer.
Instead able for tell use farm we make. You say closing farming business, you go pan diamond business, come up and diamond business, you go pan my business. So a flip flop in the same answer within the same period, you know. Okay. Dr. Samura Kamara talk that day and T-Boy one for just mention what you talk about. The key thing where we need, there is no Sierra Leone if we are not united. There is no Sierra Leone if peace not there. There is no Sierra Leone if confidence not there for say I go able for express myself freely. Why make so many references about the late President Kamara? Because he gave people the opportunity to talk and share their opinion, right? You share the same thing with Dr. Anas Kumar. But is that what is happening now? But Dr. Samura Kamara tell we, and we get for all and by word until he prove otherwise. Until he prove otherwise, say he is going to come to unite Sierra Leone. One, he tell we, say waiting, in where from outside come on. Southeast.
Pujol.
So we're talking together. Pujol, not so. Now they in come on, and they've been together, married for how many years? Over 40 years, right? Mm-hmm. From childhood days, not so. Yep. They don't if we don't go push them away or whatever, but they've been married, they have kids, they have grandkids. A Southeasterner. So it don't show if us say there is no way I will work against Southeasterners. It don't tell we, and nobody not able up to this point challenge and say, waiting Dr. Samura Kamara they talk not so true. The people he worked with, the Ministry of Finance, majority of those people are from the Southeast, where he encourage and then people on the outside and today, they served as what? Sajusu is the financial secretary, Matthew Dingy is the deputy financial secretary. These are Southeasterners. And what and they do? They support who? Madabio and in government, right? Why? You think Dr. Samura Kamara did not know that they are SLPP people? But he appointed them because of what he thinks they're able to do at the time. Now that relationship they developed with them, not to partisan relationship, say, like how they go tell you, say, if you not get membership card, will not they work with you. You understand? But it's true. He worked with them as Sierra Leoneans, not as people from the Southeast or a certain tribe. He did not. So he don't demonstrate until we say, he get the tendency and he get the track record for unite Sierra Leone based on the examples and the word of make. He has the knowledge, the experience, the know-how. Because if he not been get him, Sierra Leone no go call him 3 times, right? 3 times to go and serve Sierra Leone. If Dr. Samura Kamara was that dumb, they not for call him 3 times. He go first where they Commonwealth. Now big institution they work for, where they pay them big money. So not so somebody with they drive cab like me, or where they tote wood like me. You understand what I mean? Or
whether they want beef so now.
No, not me. And I make I say like me.
No say you need to drive cab, Juma, take it easy, bro.
You know, so for say, and no disrespect, but what I mean, because you know, sometimes we can say, oh, they don't go take anybody then come with. He wasn't anybody, he was a technical person. a chief economist or something like that, for let them pull up, he go salon, he go serve one, he commodity, then call him back, he go, then call again for the third time. That means he had something to contribute. He will not solve Sierra Leone problem alone. But if you give somebody like that an opportunity, let it bungle him up now. Say, Paddy man, but all this be on other people they be the hide. So now when you're not president, you're able to do nothing. But you cannot dismiss him if you don't give him the opportunity. But if you can choose to give someone where done jobless for 23 years, when not work, you take risk and gamble with them. But then you know want take risk and gamble with somebody who don't serve the country, you know, now the highest position, don't serve international communities them and other countries them. Able. 2. 3, it show we that they say he understand the issues. He understands the issues. So for me, not that salon problem not easy for solve. Dr. Samura Kamara not ever promise somebody say where they come, they carry up bread and butter in the old man. But he made some bold commitments on that day that he's going to be a president for what? For Sierra Leoneans, not APC. He made a commitment to the diasporans. Say, he will make sure say he work with the diasporans then. In Sierra Leone and outside of Sierra Leone, because if you want for, he will make sure say put policies in place for make sure say how you they bring your goods them out, you they pan business, you know go struggle better. And you want for cargo things then a salon, too many red tapes they no go there. So he made all those commitments. I think he spoke to what Sierra Leone needs right now and what we want, because the dollar just the woo fly. The only two we'll see, the bank governor from where we'll see on our island, na beach. He can dance and sing. He wearing big beach hats. Yeah? Bank governor. All on our way, he go. But Dr. Samura Kamara say, Ingo can't fix that problem. He will only fix them if what? If we give him the opportunity. He cannot fix it in opposition. So, me think say talk well. There are missed opportunities where, but once you come out, I'm not be no saying as so Namarelek provoking, he can joke. He said some things, and I see a jab President Bio small. Because, well, we not be ever no say he can talk, right? But that day, he jab President Bill talk about corruption issue. He talk about a few things the way under normal circumstance. He say when person don't fail, they come back, you don't pull the country, they ask and back say, give me another chance. Say I no give you. So he makes some statement the way he jab and President Bill be say they get uppercut, but it's a way I get banga turnover uppercuts them, whether they no go able for grab again. No wonder President Bill not agree for let them do the presidential debates. Possibly he knew what was coming. But that's why I want to.
Is the presidential debate officially declined now?
It's not going to happen. Because they said April 21st.
Okay.
That date has passed.
But who will do a presidential debate? We'll do one.
Well, we will.
We'll do one where we'll get a women our platform for the presidential debate. So we'll compile a presidential debates together.
Right.
That's not for sure.
Yeah.
You know, see the now. I'm not going to for where you go quiet for a few seconds.
No, now the chat group there, I watch the messages and just for see. So that na me take. I think he did well. Like what you say, I wish them be allow more time for question and answers. But hey, Sierra Leoneans are just happy people. We don't want problem. And I wish President Bio for don't learn from this. If you are good to the people, they will want to see you. They will want to welcome you at the airport. You're not going for IDBN and pass back door where you go church or you go pray na I call it church na cathedral, somebody shows in a St. Cathedral Church. You go pray there, then you left for camp in a Walworth Road. Where be they close to United Street Market. They forget to say walking foods. They just look aside for them. Then now they smuggle for going inside the country.
All right, Juba. Now we don't talk about the town hall events. We don't talk about the community events. Can we talk a little bit about the engagements elsewhere?
Sure.
Okay.
You're in a better position for talk about that, but let me just possibly one thing where I mentioned President Bill says is smuggle for inside England. We understand, say officially, Commonwealth Secretariat invites them to President Bio and the presidential aspirant for the APC, Dr. Samura Wilson Kamara, for go sit down and talk, right? And the talk also for make commitments. Then go put Sierra Leone above all else. Then go try for sign a communique for make sure say they all two work together for make sure we get a free, fair, and a peaceful elections. Because Commonwealth, all these organizations, then are we moral guarantors. For let them call on a two for calm, it means a lot. But according to what you understand, the meeting not right, the joint meeting not right because President Bill declined. We don't know how true it is, but that night we end up here, say it declined for let them get a sit-down meeting together. Wait for make clear the public know for say, then two leaders they also meet and sit down and talk. So it will be, I will really want to know why.
Okay, what make you feel say, okay, they say for come do a joint communique in terms of making sure that we have a peaceful and credible election, right? Free and fair election. Why would the president decline a meeting like that?
I'm as lost as you are. If you mean well for the people of Sierra Leone, and you want to demonstrate, like say we've been saying, to go clean the country image, it was a perfect opportunity for Sidom and show say, you not get anything against Dr. Samura Kamara, you not a peaceful man, you they promote peace, you not a father of democracy, then they use Sierra Leone, then they use you as an example. You for do that. So I'm equally shocked, surprised, and confused for why.
So what if it's going to be the outcome to the Commonwealth towards his declination of the meeting? Because to me, like you said, the Commonwealths are one of our moral guarantors for most of the things that we I think see they happen within Sierra Leone and possibly some other nations them as well. Now one of the moral guarantor, but the most important moral guarantor within Sierra Leone is the UK government, and especially the Commonwealth Secretariat. We get to do with the Commonwealth countries that we puts together. So to me, if you are invited to attend a meeting with you challenger for the presidential election winner next month, 24th, and you decline that, it means a lot. It means to me there are so many reasons behind it. We might not be in the position for call out the reason in day, but if I was judging, if me not be the person who invites you or attend a meeting like that, where I know clearly well say, me now one of the people that we the invest in the country, we they put together some of the difficult things that we country need for solve, but they help for solve the problems that we get in the country. If I call me Bralo and me Pekin for can talk case, or I call me Pekin in for can talk case, and then the ref come, but me Pekin not come. What if it's again for do to me Pekin? I could be very upset with me Pekin, isn't it?
Of course.
Because I dey expect me picking for be the first person before come, they're making WEF not come. But if in WEF come, that means in WEF get high respect for you as the father-in-law.
Right.
And if you picking not come, that means you picking automatically disrespect you in front of WEF way not supposed for be the person way for actually honor you visit because you know no obligation. So to me, I think this is a big blow to the Commonwealth. For me, the Commonwealth extend an invitation for make you come and attend a joint meeting with you competitor way on our two they go for the same race. Because at the end of the day, if at all the Commonwealth realize there hasn't been any issue of concern for the upcoming election as alone, they're not me for long attempt for make that joint holiday.
Right.
But they envisage say there has been series of concerns over the electionary process in Sierra Leone. We don't see publicly where Dr. Sylvia Blyden they attack the British High Commissioner where they represent the UK government in Sierra Leone for say bias. And again, we get the foreign secretary when a cleverly way debunk that and say, sorry, this woman has been held in high esteem and you don't go places the way now sensitive places the way are not go accept. Well, should be in a position of thinking why you not feel say it don't create more enemies with the Commonwealth even than solving one or solving more problems with the Commonwealth than actually creating more problems.
Again, this is not a problem we as Sierra Leoneans they will they make. I limit them to Sierra Leoneans because I see this happening a lot within, the Sierra Leonean community and Sierra Leoneans. It's easy for a lot of things say we don't arrive. And that means they will arrive, we burn all the other bridges them and forget say until we get for need that bridge there for Wakabaku na us. That is what is happening. 2017 or leading up to 2018 elections, President Bio was what? Anxiously, and zealously going out there to do what? To engage the international community, for go talk to them, for PR stunt, again meeting House of Commons. Now he be the first for go meet people then. Now he's president, they call you to say, let's sit, let's engage, let we dialogue with you and your opponents. Then you decline that offer there from the people and then say, no, bet the finger where they feed you. And he always they forget say who pays the piper calls the tune.
Sure.
Baroness Scotland will smile to you and all of that because that's their nature. But you don't know what report she's going to send, what other conversations she's going to have. Now the highest in the UK and America and all of that. And you know why I make the Commonwealth call that meeting? Europe not call them America because Britain now then directly they lead the process where it comes to Salon issue because we're a British colony. Okay, but it doesn't mean that Britain no more they be in this.
And Jima, the amazing thing is not the British government that called.
It's the Commonwealth
Secretariat.
Right.
So
how many countries for differentiate the Commonwealth?
Thank you. Right. It's time for differentiate politics and sovereignty.
Not go far. In Rwanda, was it a year or 2 years ago? Who that the first lady be the first for take picture with?
Nanny Browness. Yeah, when Rwanda
it was Prince Charles at the time, right?
Yes,
now
yes,
the King of England. Now the US event, it was a Commonwealth event.
Commonwealth meeting where Rwanda been the host for the first time.
Correct. Rwanda hosts a Commonwealth event, and the First Lady of Sierra Leone use and say, "Where you see the way to call him, the Prince Charles, they take picture with me. That means we don't arrive, we don't succeed." But then the Commonwealth Secretariat call the president, your husband, to a meeting, and he decide for decline the joint meeting, in decide for hold a separate meeting. They will give you, they're not going to force you. They will not force you. They will allow,
They will not even decline your meeting because it is official. They follow protocol. They're not like us.
To you because they want you on record.
Yeah, they follow protocols. And we don't we might not even know what have been the discussion on that particular meeting again.
Exactly.
And to be honest, the body language of the president returning back to Sierra Leone doesn't look good.
Right. Now, so they're all separate meetings, but you not agree for joint. This would have been a big bonus for President Bio, even if he gets other plans, right? But at least you have to be seen to be ready to lead a country that is holding a free, fair, and a peaceful elections. But now you don't begin demonstrate. So twice, ECOWAS sent representatives and delegation at Salon. What did he do? He refused to meet with them. He declined their meeting.
So he don't decline two of the most important personalities then in Africa and in the diaspora, because the Commonwealth is directly tied to Sierra Leone and the ECOWAS is directly tied to the Economic Community of West African States. We govern we as well. And right. If you refuse to engage those two delegations, what does that mean to the people of Sierra Leone? Because when your president refuses to engage, they will engage him.
Right.
And when they engage him, it's not going to be on your terms anymore. It will be on their terms.
On their own terms.
We all know the might of those two people. When they engage you on your terms, you don't have much to say. They dictate to you now.
Example.
You like it or not, you toe the line, or otherwise you accept the default situation where you get for friend yourself in now.
Exactly. Example. I bring a come as recent as 10 years ago. President Yahya Jammeh in elections. Now I get the army, I get the police, all the security apparatus, everything, not so.
Yep.
Election done. What you say? Say they hand over power. Then try for engage them, then send people make arrogant. What did they do? Then send military at the border between Senegal and Gambia.
Then look, they just cooling over there. They just reserve.
Then just angry. They say, "Paddy, now you not get choice, but for hand over power." We never even sit down for talk with yourself again. It's a one-way traffic. You for hand over power within this term and this term. What happened? He left like what? He embarrassed. He go. Anybody they talk about today?
No.
Nobody. They left him to go on a safe passage because he gets supporters. Then they don't want to create any problem, at this time. But it does not mean that he's gone scot-free with that. That is on record for him. So if President Bio thinks he's a sovereign country, nobody know for dictates to you, nobody know for tell you it, nobody not tell you say do this. They say let's dialogue, let's sit down, let we talk.
Yeah, but Juma,
Salon
is a sovereign state, agreed. But also a subordinate state on the West. Because as far as I'm concerned, Salon cannot manage its affairs on its own. So if you want to call a bluff, you should be able to withstand the consequences that we're going to be faced with. And let's take things out of perspective right now. Say Salon gets to the stage wherein international involvement will come. Who suffers the bare burden of that particular country? It's the citizens of Sierra Leone.
Right. Yeah.
Not the president and his delegate, but the average Sierra Leonean will suffer the consequences. So, for example, the election does not go the way of President Julius Maada Bio. He lost the election and then he refused to hand over power. They will not forcefully go and fight him, but he will be faced with what? Sanctions, embargoes, restrictions, and who suffers the consequences of that? Sierra Leoneans.
No, but they will not even let that happen, Chiboy.
Well, I'm just saying the worst. Let's say the worst.
They will not let that happen if they know that.
That is not what we're even anticipating. But for the fact, say, you have been called to a meeting, you don't know. I believe, say, then we don't share the content of the meeting. The meeting will have had an agenda because they don't have an agenda.
They don't blindside you. They will tell you.
So you basically have the agenda of that particular meeting and things that should be discussed. And then you look at all those topics of discussion we will get forgets, and then you choose to say, no, I am not interested. On what grounds? Is it because you don't have time? Is it because you think it's not necessary? Or you don't want to sit on the same table with Dr. Samura Kamara? Okay, let's say the worst situation might have happened, that you don't want to have a meeting with him on the same table. We can do screen barriers, isn't it? We can do an online. Well, anyway, the presidency get for fly London for do an online program, so that would not be surprising. So it doesn't really make sense to do an online program. But it's a very serious matter for make the ECOWAS delegation requested to have a meeting with you and you decline. And then the Commonwealth, not the UK government, because the UK government is political.
Correct.
It is a political organization where you go talk, say, oh, conservative and labor. It's got nothing to do with the UK government. It's the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth is being seen to be non-political, wherein people from different Commonwealth countries, the way they participate, come together and converge in an environment and hold a meeting of how they will progressively support Commonwealth countries, then we definitely need support. So if the Commonwealth Secretariat request to have a meeting with you, not by force you should attend, but at least even if you don't want to attend, you should have said, okay, can I send a representative because I may not be able to attend that particular meeting or something of the sort. But I think if me not the papa and I call me Pekin and wife because they make palava or they want to make palava or then they into some kind of divorce settlement and the Pekin refuse for come and the Pekin wife attend, I will be very upset with my son. And I will let my son know that, sorry, son, you disrespected me by not acknowledging my invitation. You disrespected me by refusing to show up so that we can settle the dispute between yourself and your wife. For that disrespect that you have disrespected me to your wife alone, I will do A, B, C, D. And now, for the world to know that you have disrespected me, I will take further decisions against that. It's now down to me, because your opinion for not coming will lead me to my opinion of reaction as well. So you might not need to know what reactions I'm going to come up with or what I will do after that. But subsequently, you might need me tomorrow to come to attend to your call. And I will remind you of the disrespect you don't bring towards me.
So just quickly for help with viewers, the Commonwealth, of course, like we don't say, now countries them, right? Not to one country, now nations coming together. How many? 56 countries working together for what? Prosperity, democracy, and peace. 56 countries in Africa, Europe, and Asia. Not to one, 56 countries. And then countries include the one that outside their offshore accounts, then they wait and they thief Solomon inside.
Thank you.
It include the side we go on for run away for go hide. It include the one that way sometimes get the most sophisticated vertical weapons. Nigeria is in the Commonwealth and then they are ECOWAS. Ghana is in the Commonwealth and then they are ECOWAS. So name a few. Carry on, T-boy.
Juman, I scared you, you, so not mix so. Because right now you look at you are making threats and we need to take no threats. They working right now. But no, you make a very valid point in actually raising all those concerns, because the point where you raise is very much in line with some of the concerns then we don't raise. Because if you look at the security apparatus of the Commonwealth, it involves so many other all over the world. They work collaboratively for exercise peace and cordiality among the Commonwealth states that we did. I've never seen or heard any Commonwealth states where they in dispute with each other. It's hard. It's hard to see that happen, isn't it? Because they always call them to come and sit on the table and have a discussion and fix the dialogue and fix the problem that they may have had in the past. So to me, for make the Commonwealth even look more powerful, the template of successful economy in Africa has been officially officially accepted for me to become a member of the Commonwealth states, them all over the world, when I Rwanda. And for make that happen, it means the Commonwealth is a very successful organization that brings, although some of we disadvantaged by some of the opportunities of the Commonwealth, again, we know most of that is down to the fact that other non-Commonwealth countries, they don't abuse the status as a Commonwealth state by taking advantage of the opportunities that we don't get as one of the Commonwealth countries in the world. So again, it's very important we highlight the fact that the Commonwealth is comprised of 52 states or more. 56 states, which means you cannot fight against 56 countries that governs the Commonwealth.
India, they're not the Commonwealth.
Eh?
India.
Of course, India is not the Commonwealth. Now, one of the biggest states of the Commonwealth in any.
Okay.
So I understand your points where they make. But to me, I think by any means necessary, even if he do by hypocrisy, if you don't know one even listen to the conversation or not take the conversation into any consideration, but at least you should have attended.
That's exactly my point. You have to be seen. So it's a missed opportunity for him. Now, if anything happened, you don't get no side for turn. You can't start telling people about territorial integrity.
No.
Because if they sanction Sierra Leone, already people of Sierra Leone are suffering. If let's say you lose the elections and you try for hold on to power, then sanction Sierra Leone, pass embargo, they travel. Even if you people get how you call that, British passport, as long as they don't serve another government, they know they go no side, you money, then they freeze all thing. You there inside there, then the people of Sierra Leone, they turn against you because the people of Sierra Leone will not want to be on sanctions and embargo for the rest of their life. Then therefore rescue themselves. So it's a lose-lose situation for you. So why not hold a meeting, reach a dialogue? But again, possibly, is it maybe all the statements that we don't make against the opposition, he will not be able to justify it if a third party there, but he's willing to share it, individually on his own, but not outside the person they face to face. Because if me you they make plan about all the tenants, somebody call me say our law not talk, I know they say I go there. We don't go sit down talk. Right? I go listen to what me do you. Me say I go tell you what you do me. I'm not ashamed for face what you call my own embarrassment. I will. So anyway, so that's with the Commonwealth. We know for say they're all individual meetings with both Dr. Samura Kamara and President Bio, but the joint meeting with them is supposed for hold now Marlborough House, not happen because President Bio declined the joint meeting. So it's not us saying it. That's what was reported. Let's go now to the other engagement, T-Boy. And this one, are you able to speak to them better? Because you were present as a media practitioner covering the event, both at the House of Commons and engagement with members at the House of Lords. Lord talk about that, we'll go to Chatham House, because Chatham House, for the people that say Chatham House get rule, waiting happen inside Chatham House stays in Chatham House. So you go just talk around the atmosphere, what you call them, but you can't tell us what's happening there. You cannot even tell you or no go.
Well, I think the engagements with the House of Commons and the House of Lords was very much interesting because when we first entered into the House of Commons, I think it was the committee.
You the break.
No, the committee, the Foreign Affairs Committee selects committee. Now they will do the first engagement where we go cover. I think it was a serious engagement because a lot was discussed amongst the delegation we go and also the people that we represent the select committee for foreign affairs. And Dr. Samura Kamara highlights a lot of stuff that we feel say need for highlights to the Selects Committee about the things that will happen as alone, the things that will don't happen with him, and the things that we possibly the envisage should happen. One of which, and the fact say he had to seek permission to fly out of his country. He hasn't been able to move freely within Sierra Leone, and he hasn't been given the opportunity to do things as he possibly might want to do as a Sierra Leonean. And he also highlighted the fact that on his return from America, he was held hostage on the highway for hours before eventually he was released to enter into Freetown. And they asked him to only use convoy of 10 fleets of cars and not more than that. So basically, he highlighted a lot of concerns. He highlighted a lot of concerns.
Human rights issues there.
Human rights concerns. Yeah, he highlighted human rights concerns. He highlighted concerns of extrajudicial killing where they happen as alone. So these are not basically new things that he highlighted to the committee we being present at that particular moment. So basically, they had a discussion on that, and they possibly going to have further discussions and possibly engage the foreign affairs minister, and also possibly engage with the High Commission where they engage Salon. So basically, that was the most important part of the discussion. So to me, the summary of that discussion was based on security, human rights abuse, and the fact that he has been rejected to travel as much as he likes. They don't retain his passport. He has to apply for his passport to travel, and he was detained, held hostage on his return back from America. So the concerns that he raised were prominent concerns for every Sierra Leonean, not just as a presidential candidate, but also as a Sierra Leonean, because you should have the freedom of movement in your country. You haven't committed a crime. You're a Sierra Leonean. You have the freedom to go anywhere you want to go in Sierra Leone without being held accountable to anybody. Because, again, that is the right of every Sierra Leonean. Again, when you talk about the human rights abuse where he expressed, that the facts say people were killed and nothing came out of it. No investigation has been conducted in some of the killings that has happened in Sierra Leone. And it just seems as if it's okay. And again, the engagement of him and President Julius Maada Bio to be in the position together again was discussed, and that was also nothing that has happened. So there were serious issues that was discussed. Again, if you were not there, it's a shame, but I think it's an opportunity for people to be able to understand the fact that the Select Committee for Foreign Affairs will not just call Dr. Samura Kamara to an engagement if it is not something that they think is serious. Right. So they are all looking at the situation in Sierra Leone, and they're all thinking, okay, there is a serious situation that is possibly going to erupt in Sierra Leone, and we cannot sit by and allow this to happen. We need to engage the parties involved. One thing we don't know now, whether the committee invites President Julius Maada Bio into a separate meeting. We don't know anything about that. But why would they talk to the opposition specifically?
Well,
to me, that means a lot.
I'll answer that question way back, but I just want to follow up with you. Did he mention anything concerns about the free and fair elections?
Yes, a lot was highlighted about the free and fair election. A lot was highlighted about the registration process. A lot was highlighted about the what's not the word for this particular thing? The census.
Yeah, they said the midterm.
Why the census was not supposed to be conducted. Sierra Leone officially conducts census every 10 years, but this was the first time that we had a midterm census in Sierra Leone. And the purpose of the census was also highlighted in this meeting, which means the purpose of the census was to look at how these governments can actually create developmental strides in various different capacities in terms of the population of Sierra Leone. And that was not what was achieved at the end of the day. And we now get to realize that the census data is going to be used for the purpose of the election. And he also highlighted the fact, say, the registration of Sierra Leoneans was not conducted in a manner wherein everybody will be able to register in their own capacity free and freely. And they also highlight the fact, say, the geographical location of Sierra Leone has changed overnight because Freetown seems to be the most densely populated area in Sierra Leone, and all of a sudden, Freetown have possibly one of the less registration for the election and also for the census. So he highlighted all these concerns to the committee, and the committee has taken all of these concerns into consideration, and they will possibly get back to either himself or the president, Julius Maada, or the High Commission that represents them in Sierra Leone from the UK.
Okay, so waiting.
But I think overall, for make
yeah.
a committee like that, and what I say, it is a very strong force of the committee. Committee selects for foreign affairs. It means a lot.
Yeah. Not people and backbenchers.
No, definitely not. I know a couple of the two phases. There's a lady and another gentleman who I know for sure has been on television talking about foreign affairs issues in the past couple of years when this government came to power. So not so strange people, and to me, I don't see them on a regular basis talking on issues, foreign issues, especially during the during this Ukraine war and also during the Syria war. They've always been on television talking about these serious issues of concerns of human rights abuse, concerns of corrupt practices, of things that were happening, concerns of so many things they were free to say was highlighted on that day by Dr. Samura Kamara and his team.
So how about other engagements with House of Lords people then?
The House of Lords was interesting because the House of Lords gets they get a system where like they do a quick review of what has happened, what has been discussed, and then they take notes and they say, okay, fine, no problem, we've taken note of this and we're going to address it X, Y, Z, Z, Z. But they've highlighted a lot of stuff again, similarly to the same thing where they highlight now the Foreign Affairs Select Committee. So it's more or less the same thing that was highlighted to them, possibly more in details, because the House of Lords Norbin gets most of the members of parliament and for Sidom at every given point in time, because there was also a Q&A that was happening at the out. But it was very much engaging because we had some people that were coming in with some of these Lord members who have their own representation, also taking notes of everything that was discussed. So it was very much interesting.
Policy people and their own policy.
Yes, their own policy people and really take notes of
research assistants them and all that.
Yes, that's correct. And every single one of them came with at least a minimum of 2. So they had to engage and discuss but they asked a few questions as well. They raised concerns on the election process of the registration of the census. They also raised concerns, asked questions on the process of the election. And surprisingly, one of them knows a lot about the tribes in Sierra Leone, and I was shocked. And I'm thinking, okay, so they may have done their own research on the issues that was meant to be discussed. And one that was raised primarily was focusing on the tribal lines, the divided tribal lines of what is happening right now in Sierra Leone. And one of the
conscious, they're aware, they know it's in exactly.
Yes, they are aware of the tribal differences in terms of job creation, in terms of opportunities being created for those who are belonging to a specific tribe, because the guy mentioned tribes. So I know for sure they know already what are some of the issues where they happen at Salon. So it was an interesting engagement. But for again, the House of Lords choose to hold a meeting with Dr. Samura Kamara means a lot as well, because they will not have any interest in Sierra Leone if they think it's okay, let them deal with their issue. I don't think they're sitting by and allowing that to happen. That's why they're engaging him as much as they can. So they possibly have a lot of information from the High Commission in Sierra Leone, maybe, I'm just assuming, but for the fact that they want to engage Dr. Samura Kamara to, like, when you say, I want to read the person himself for can talk this thing to me for make I get myself convinced or believe, say, whatever we have heard is true from the horse's mouth, that makes a lot of difference. And for me, I will not engage nobody if it is not that important, especially at that level. And for the fact, say, the House of Parliament is possibly one of the most tense environments right now, even more than immigration, really travel out of the country. And we were all allowed to walk through based on the recommendation that we have a meeting with the House of Lords members. I think it was something that you should take on very seriously. It might not serve any purpose to anybody politically, but I think for the political dispensation of Sierra Leone, I will take it very seriously.
So thank you so much, T-Boy, for that, highlight day and all that. And like what you say, me, I like for go back to history and look at things. Possibly me and Dr. Samura Kamara, they look at the same science. Like for go 1961, me they go with, I not been in 1961. So during the late President Kaba in government, we've been get the war going on at the same time. And a lot of things were happening in Sierra Leone. And we know how we war end. Nigeria played a huge part. ECOWAS played a great role. But then Britain got involved, right? At some point. And possibly some of we been fortunate because by virtue of certain work they will be they do, able for attend, international security briefing on a daily basis. And who that can at the meeting one time? Robin Cook. Who that might be Robin Cook? The foreign secretary.
Exactly.
Right? After that, say what you get. We get the British troop. We go Salon. Say what happen. West Side Boys engagement. So you see, and most times, if something they happen, then they send envoy, then go to the country for go dialogue and go discuss. But like how you say, how serious this be, where possibly the President Bio government they trivialize because sometimes then they make the guy cover shame, or they make how they call them toko cant in a business for say we not sovereign state, nobody not for tell waiting for do. This time they're not to send, then send call una. See boy, if they call you now the principal in office, what should they do?
At the beginning, things say, have I committed a crime? What I don't do, I don't curse one teacher, or I don't make palava, or I don't fit.
That's because the biggest side then they call you, right? Now the principal, the way you see them call you at the principal in office, just know say, yeah, now big dance, now tight pala. If they send teacher for go meet you in a class, sometimes better then go just beat you 6 courts and commodity. But this then call you, then go to class, then call. See boy, the principal's office, please. And that's exactly what don't happen. So if anybody they think say this not child's play, not a child's play, and they're not go underestimate and downplay the seriousness of what's in the happen in our country. That conversation we then get with Dr. Samura Kamara, they will follow through on it because they get for respond to them. For say, based on our dialogue and our meeting, we have action, this. We will recommend X, Y, Z, this. That they will do. They're not they just sit down and fall down and fall foot. So if anybody thinks it was just, yes.
I want to respond to Peter in question quick. You make a comment.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Uber shouldn't have been allowed to take his cameras in with him. Okay. I think this meeting was not of any security risk. So basically,
who is Peter?
Peter Dauda. So now one of we constant favorites, one of our favorites.
Where in Facebook?
On YouTube.
On YouTube, okay.
So I think for answer that question, Peter, yes, you might think I should not have been allowed to take a camera in.
No, but did he say why? Ask him first why, T-Boy.
Eh?
Now, can you tell us why you think T-Boy not for been taking camera inside?
No, well, to me, I think...
Let me ask him first why. Don't answer, respond to something that you don't know why.
All right, Peter, why do you think I shouldn't have been allowed to take cameras into those meetings? Because those meetings, I think every meeting in the House of Parliament has been recorded, regardless. There are all over the House of Parliament in every meeting rooms. So basically, you might think these House of Lords are not taking notes, but they go back and watch the videotapes of what they said or what have been said. So every meeting.
But even if there was a security breach or whatever, if not be a rule say you know for take, they allow you late.
They didn't allow me in the first place. Yes,
But they
true.
allowed you because it was an open discussion.
Yeah.
They wanted it to be documented.
And I think personally, if the discussion was not meant to be recorded, they would have asked every individual to leave their recording devices in a specific room.
Exactly.
And I've been to so many events in the House of Parliament or House of Commons or House of Lords within the past couple of years, and we were told not to take any device. Our phones were taken away and they were logged in with our jackets. So basically, some of those meetings that I have attended over the past couple of years were meant to be sensitive discussions based on health issues, nothing to do with politics. It was just on health issues. So I think if there is any concerns of cameras or recording devices to be taken in any of those meetings, will have been highlighted by the people who are organizing the meeting in the first place anyway. But again, we live in a world where everything is recorded. And for example, if I go to a meeting and I'm not sure of what is going to be the outcome of that meeting, I will request that meeting to be recorded. And if you decline that request, it means the meeting will not go ahead because I don't trust anything that will come out of that meeting. I want to have it on records. And there are times when people say things, they will say on records. It means you can quote them.
Yeah.
To say X and Y and Y and Y and Z on records. And when people talk to you, of course, Peter, you know that if I say to you off the records, it means you cannot quote me on those statements that I'm making. But I'm making this statement on records because I have a copy. And I think the House of Parliament also have a copy. So it's no doubt if it was an illegal entering of any recording device, they will have highlighted it before the meeting.
Not to spy, you go spy. No. It was a meeting. No. Anybody where they go in again for go through security clearance, like you stated. I've been to a meeting, the Foreign and Common Office, years back, where I go, I announce myself. I go not to a person tell me, then just tell me, say, here is the code, go there. Now the safe box, this go put all your phones and other personal things. You're only able to take a book with you if you want a notepad to take notes. That's it. I put and then I say put me code. After my meeting where I come, I go now the box as well and put me code and pull my phone and other things that were being getting me on. Simple as that. If they don't want you to take it, they will tell you, even when they invite you, and they will say
prior to that.
Yeah, not bring this. Now, so, and you get people when a protocol people where they with tuna, where they show now outside for go side for Sidom and all of those things. So,
okay, Peter, now response say because the meetings were being held in secrets, they were classified as secret meetings. No, they were not secret meetings. They were not held in secrets. They were held in accordance to the request from the House of Lords and the House of Committee Select for Foreign Affairs. So basically, if it was a secret meeting, they wouldn't have allowed me to go through with all my cameras or all my recording devices into the meeting room in the first place, because we have to go through security checks. And they will have told us, what they said to me was, I should not record anything outside the meeting room.
Right.
Because now it is a public domain. It's not a private meeting anymore. We are now into a public domain.
You don't have permission.
I don't have permission to do that. So I was told when we went to the House of Committee for Foreign Affairs, I should not record anything outside of the meeting room. So that was exactly what happened. So in that regards, yes, there was a rule, and the rule was being addressed to me before I even walked into the meeting room. So I understand your concern. I understand what you have for raised the point. If we were going into MI5 or a security alert meeting, then maybe yes, they wouldn't have allowed me to go in the first place. Any meeting that has a security concern, I will not even be in that meeting in the first place, because I will not be allowed to go in there, because it is
if there's a reason for you to go in there,
if there's a reason for me to go in there as a media practitioner, then yes, they might want me to either take notes or do something. But if the meeting is of high security risk and sensitive information are going to be discussed, sensitive names are going to be called, and they want that to be just with the person that they want to discuss with, and that's it. Or otherwise, you will sign a form of disclosure to say everything that is discussed here will remain
Do
here.
not secret. Yeah.
So I will understand all those protocols. We've been through it a lot. This is not the first time to go into the House of Parliament a lot. We are used to that now anyway. And not in the capacity of Sierra Leoneans, but also in various different capacity, because we also engage with non-governmental organizations that hold meetings in the House of Parliament. Again, we've also involved with health issues that deals with health concerns for Africa and for people in the United Kingdom. So all those things we've gone through. So we know the protocol that we need to observe, or they will highlight the protocol, or they will give us a brief, or they will debrief us before we attend to any of those meetings. So I will possibly say to you, yes, it was not a secret meeting. It was not held in secret. And I think that is why there were no form of restrictions. We all know what happens in the Chatham House, so we don't even need to discuss that. That is mandatory. Everybody knows that.
So
even
tell me about the Chatham House flavor. So not tell me about what happens. I just tell me about
what happened at the Chatham House. But the Chatham House was an interesting environment. There were lots of people there asking questions, and it was cool. And again, the confidence of Samura Kamara was expressed as well.
So his confidence was also. Was it a lecture? Was it a presentation?
I think it was a lecture. It was a summary of everything that he stands for as a person.
Okay.
So it was kind of a lecture to an audience that was listening to what he has to say. And the topic, am I allowed to say the topic of
discussion? Yeah, the topic was publicized, yes. So
all right, so now this now they call control media, isn't it?
You can buck him out now. They can ask you questions.
I don't chaco. If I chat, then maybe you understand. Okay, I just want to highlight the topic of discussion because I took a screenshot of it because I didn't want to go back and ask questions. And if this was the published document, it states Sierra Leone's 2023 elections policy alternatives and priorities for pluralism. Chatham House. Dr. Samura Wilson Kamara, and the chair was Alex Vines.
Okay. So how in presentation, how they receive
Africa program?
How they receive in presentation?
Well, he's not stranger to Chatham House anyway, so I think he knows exactly what the drill is all about, and he knows what to say, and he knows how to do his opening and his closing, and everything he did was just what you expect him to do, because at the end of the day, as an economist, he knows exactly what he should be talking about. So the focus of this particular meeting was based on all those areas. And I think what he did...
the alternative for Sierra Leone, economic pluralism and stuff like that, 2023 elections.
Say that again, sorry?
I say, the alternative for Sierra Leone.
Who?
The presentation based on the alternative policy for Sierra Leone.
Not much to do with that, but also to highlight some of the alternatives, but not the direct alternative, because he did not have enough time. Because there was also another meeting that was about to happen. Well, we arrived on time, but we were waiting for a few more of the other participants to be there. So basically, I think it's a summary of him 40 years back. Yeah.
Okay.
And like a way you can pitch. Say, this is me 40 years ago. I do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H.
And this
now. So no hesitate.
Right.
But I go there now, I sit down at the table. I'm able to do E, F, G, H, I, J, K.
So that question where people and they ask, what has Samura Kamara done in 40 years? Now he answer yanda in a different way for say
Sierra Leoneans, but people who are also not Sierra Leoneans. Yeah, so it was quite interesting. It's a shame that we cannot discuss some of the discussion there, but I think it was very much interesting. Very interesting conversation. And I think, again, it just reinforced the confidence in him. And it also just reinforced the fact that he's open. He's open to criticism. He's open to questioning. He's open to anything that you think you want to know about him, or what he wants to do, or his agenda, whatever you might think about how to engage him. I think he's open to anything. One thing for learn as civilians is the fact that we have to be open to criticism, because sometimes it helps us to achieve better. For any individual, they accept any form of criticism, being technical, practical, or professional way of criticizing things, then I think you'll be able to change some of your disciplines. Now, only way you accept or you listen to criticism, you be able to sit down and review what they have criticized you on, and how you can able to amend and change some of them things. And you might not be able to do it overnight, but at least you start the process. Then say you need to change dog with old new tricks, so. Yeah. But you able to do, you will encourage them for able to adapt. It takes him time for him to adapt, but he will eventually be able to know that I know for put naya. Because if you repeatedly remind them, they say put dog in no spine in poo. Next time make you not do and they again, not so. But that dog then olo, a young he go able to understand, say, well, yeah, the next time I go do and they will carry up in no spanner now. That's the fact. So basically, now that's no more a exercise on that day and the chat had, but a very interesting conversation. I think it's an opportunity missed by many civilians, the way they question a lot of stuff of, because if you don't get to go and
question a lot of stuff of what?
Of Dr. Samura Kamara ability. Because to me, I had similar kind of views in the past to say, okay, you don't have 40 years, but I think if you begin breaking them things down for civilians for understand, now in engagements, now the community hall now able for no for say, it don't work for all them people they are saying in the past. And I don't think so it don't achieve with the work for all them people they are saying in the past. And if you not go for go listen, you don't go for know some of the things that we sometimes ego say. And for listening to one interview of an individual does not clarify to say that individual is good or bad. You need to listen to a series of different interviews, because what he might have said here in regards to that interview might be different from what he don't say to that same question on a second interview. Sometimes maybe go able to elaborate on that particular thing even more than the first one.
I see that, because remember the first criticism he got recently, where that lady being asked and say, no, the one about 1961, right? Where he said it takes something back to 1961. People like, oh, what do you mean? This, that. But he gets an opportunity and explain to say.
1961 the town hall meeting.
Yeah, the town hall meeting. Say 1961, now the tell will be they live as community people. Now the tell will get light. Now the tell will salon suite. Now the tell will salon this. Now the tell will salon that. So now the good things them where we don't miss. Now a one for bring back na salon. Not to the salon where you not go able for talk. Not to the salon where rest done, they are pass you salary, or where you put one whole family together, where you put them for them salary together and able buy one bag rest. Not to the salon where lights no day. Not to the salon where water no day. Try to be the open pump, right? With the waste water self. Where you see small dirty they where I say, this why dirty, la get back. We'll not be able to wash na street pump just for the fun who come up the mall.
Yep.
Because you don't have that opportunity at home. So you go wash na street pump, because if where you don't do and they, at least you say don't feel good, say you don't be part of the community, you say wash na street pump. You see? So all of those kind of things.
But me, I still feel no more. As civilians, we need to give. I know say like we give people them chance if they don't deserve those chances. I'm not asking, I give Dr. Samura a chance. No, he has to earn it. He got for earn them. And the only way I go earn them, I for talk to people them and tell them exactly who then are you. What he be? What he stand for? We now for come back and begin ask Dr. Samura this question 5 years down the line we don't take over office. We don't need to do that. If we been a do to Dr. Samura Kamara, what we don't do, what we for don't do to President Julius Maada, we're not for the reach the situation this right now.
Exactly.
So I don't feel to say there's anything wrong with asking questions now. We for ask Dr. Samura Kamara a question, tell we gains. Make it tell you what you want for tell you whether at school now or line now. Look, we ask no more. Because if we don't ask, we don't know. If the time where we been get a presidential debates, we been get for ask questions as audience, we'll not be for those how they so. Because if your CV for be one of your criteria for an employment opportunity, who not go pass the employment for who not go get that opportunity for get a job? If now you CV with a look. Because for every job employment, you have to provide a CV. And for every serious employer where they employ anybody, if you have a gap in your CV and it gets no interest for find out why you have that gap in your CV, that employer not serious. It's not serious about
it. That means salon people not being serious.
Well, I'm not going to say we'll not be serious until we'll be able to think otherwise. We'll not be able to take with CV into consideration because that is why you have a CV. But we don't take our CV into consideration. Now that's make we get people who they employ. It's not the qualification, no experience, and nothing for deliver for. Because we need to take CVs into consideration. That is exactly what we exercise during this election. Can we do the same again? No, we can't sit back and allow the same thing to happen. Because if it happens once and we do nothing about it, it's going to continuously repeat itself. But now also to do so, we form this program what we call head-to-head, not also? And the reason we form head-to-head, now for like we can know the CV of the people and we choose for be members of parliament in Sierra Leone. In the next parliament, we come on Usai from the diaspora. How many did we get to come and tell us exactly what they stand for? What's in that in CV? Very few. Very few. But guess what?
We ask them, say, can go show we say, can go to Bokiti and then
go ready for can show we.
Can talk say, can go to Bokit, one umbrella.
Because for make you do, for like you buy 10 bag rest for community in a salon, I can do that. Does that make me a politician? Does that make me a philanthropist? No. For like you pay school fee for 10 picking in a salon, I am doing that currently as we speak. Does that make you a philanthropist? Does that make you a politician? No. And that's not the entry card for politics in Sierra Leone. For Digwell, not make you a politician. For B school, not make you a politician. It doesn't. Right. Giving back to society does not make you a politician. It's a goodwill venture by individuals. But if you want to come into politics, you need to have a mandate of what you intend to do or what you have done in the past that has no political connotation next to it or attached to it. Well, okay, I have been in position for make able for do X, Y, Z, 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 but the policies of the government institutions are affecting some of the work that I want to do in this community. So I want for seats now the decision-making policy committee. We are able for change them policies there. So it's about policies. Because when you change those policies, it means you are giving other Sierra Leoneans opportunities to come and invest in their communities because then gets policy when they affect them. For example, if me they do business, I sell stationery, and then I get a tax levied on my taxation because of how they invest in my community, I go ready for willing for cancer in my community because I feel say the tax break what they get, they maximize my profits, and I go able for do my corporate social responsibility in my community. I go able for help for develop few things the way they happen in my community. I go able for say, okay, well, for the fact say I get football club na Waterloo, I go able for help for develop that Waterloo community day from the profits they want to get because I get a tax break from the profits. But if we don't have those policies to be in place, so the purpose of politicians coming into politics now for help for can change policies the way they affect the average man or the average businessman or the average investor or the average philanthropy. Because otherwise, if the policies are not in favor of the people the way they make their own small contribution to the community, then they will not be involved. So politicians come into politics to actually contribute or make policies them we go help for develop the country more so ever than actually consider to say, Mr. go build water well. You cannot build water well for all the people living in your community because that is not your job. Your job is to lobby for more policies that will encourage more people to come and invest in the water resources of a community, to come and invest in the road construction of a community, because it will help the community more if the policies are there.
Right.
Government in the diaspora in the UK, they can bribe government officials then for make them give them contracts for go build road. Then they can bribe them for make them change the policies that will go fix them business. That is what they do. Then they say, okay, the policy against foreign exports is huge. It's affecting our foreign exports to this country. So can you lobby for us so that we can have some amount of break in taxation for exporting goods and services to the UK? Exactly what happened a couple of years ago. The UK had such shortage of nurses. What did they do? They reduced the tension of the policy of importing foreign nurses to this country, where they give them more opportunity for come London and can work because they need their services. So what did they do? They reduced the laws, then cut some of the red tapes then. They make sure say the application form is much more easy to fill. They make sure say the application form where you fill, that they pay for the application form for you. And they also make sure say they provide access for you for make you for can they get outside the day for the first 6 months. We don't settle down, then you can now go. So these are all policies.
Right.
That's my thing for to do.
So with all this engagement, the 1.5 week where you there around Samura Kamara, you think say your mindset don't change about Sam?
I'm a media practitioner. My mindset is always going to be the same.
Yeah, but
in regards of what? Be specific now, make I answer your question.
Samura Kamara that they possibly you been a look at, because you say don't say that you had your reservation or you be they think about Samura Kamara, this kind of person, but when you actually listen to them, you're able to know more things. So then more things than the way you know. Did that change your mindset about him as a leader or somebody? You know, it doesn't mean because you're a media practitioner that means you know for share which you feel with the people. I'm not saying say you go vote for someone. I just ask. Don't change about that.
It don't change my mindset for make I believe say it has the potential for effect change. And instead of self-clarify that, I am not promising you the best of the world, but I can change certain elements of what Salon stand for right now. So to me,
you believe that based on everything where you see and all of that?
Based on in track record, yeah. And what I say track record, not just in track record of what you don't say. I don't go through in track record in the past 40 years, and on in track record, and what he don't say, and how he deliver what he deliver for in UK tour. I'm convinced that he will be able to change Sierra Leone. My question now is, what sort of challenges is he going to be faced with that will execute that process, make it easy, or make
so
it...
you will not know until it is given the
opportunity. That is the unknown now. We don't know exactly which kind stumble block it gets for be faced with. But with in past record, in delivery, and what in I don't see of him, I believe he can change. He can effect change. The now question will be how long and how soon. But yes, I believe in his I'm not gonna say I believe in policies there yet because I haven't been able to see all of them. But one way I see where he highlight now the town hall meeting, now the fact say they are now looking at renewable energy, especially solar.
Right.
And that is one thing that we haven't looked into when it comes to energy. And solar energy is possibly taking over the entire Europe right now. There are certain places in Europe where they live primarily on solar energy. So it will not be a surprise for Salon we get heavy sunlight because it say again, hydro, they starve because there are less rains and they don't cultivate a lot of the highlands of Sierra Leone when the trees where they preserve water. So it means it don't begin doing homework of how it go able for generates energy when a renewable energy when a solar. And when we get the master sabi man for renewable energy, not even do nothing as alone.
Who don't know the master sabi man?
Juba, you get mad at with you.
I want to know.
You too get mad at it. I will left that for the audience for guests.
I want my viewers to know. I don't want them to guess. I don't
want
to
keep... Femi go answer that question there.
Femi, who don't know the master sabi man for renewable energy? For Salo, when able do nothing.
Femi, come. Femi. We'll bring you to the program now. Put your camera on. Not hide, but we will not like that one. Those kind of parts and this, but really do so. Femi, come on, man.
The master sabi man for energy business.
Femi, welcome to the program. Say hi to viewers and tell them what you viewed, what you don't talk about for the past 2 hours. Over to you. Uno, you know you.
Hello, viewers. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, we can.
Una dey hear me loud and clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you, Femi, you don't go.
I don't go. I don't know if I say good morning, good night, or good evening, or uswampanda for say. But T-boy na gawi femplaba bad. We've been having some technical issues, so I've been here monitoring from the back. T-boy not to me name, not to me mosi the kayeri. Udana Bob Marley papa, not so they can see. And today
I may 11
Marley night.
Today Marley nights indeed. So not so me Mosi Okai would have Bob Marley. So over to you, T-boy.
Let me thank you very much. I just want to let you say hello to Via. They will all know how you did. It will all
Mr. Renewable Energy.
Hey Juma, why are you like fat?
Who is Mr. Renewable Energy? Viewers then Abu Bangu Auda.
Calling him where Abu Bangu right.
Right, Abu Bangura.
Calling him where Abu Bangu right, not Juma.
I don't see him better. I just see. What's he right?
I don't see yourself the free Juma. Hey Juma, you buff.
What is it?
You can't call him where Abu Bangu right. These are the first assistant gave me the field for call person name.
Hello, T-boy. The reason, T-boy, do you hear me?
Yes,
yeah. So the reason why you can't call the name because the man not relevant again. He don't commit political suicide. You know, I really think personally me, you know, I really am so what's not the word? I don't even know who's right word for describe how the man make some of we feel. So if we just pack his name in history.
I the name man by the name how Saidu Sise column. Me country for.
It's really I'm sweating. What Abu Bangu say? Whose name? What is Saidu say? Huh? Mr. Country.
I call Saidu. Saidu in your name I call because in your gets real meaning. Me country force. No, Mr. Country Force.
Okay, I feel say Mr. Country Fall. Okay,
no, Mr. Country Force. You know, say that the slogan that Mr. Country Force. So put the country force.
Okay, then Mr. Boy say Mr. Suma. Who done Mr. Suma? I hope so not to Mr. Juma do I right to.
Well, Juma, you say what's not interesting thing, but this question we are ask you and let Femi clarify. Now the fact say we've had like what?
Mr. Quantum.
I count on a name.
Mr. Quantum. Then connection say no need for culture for mentioning name Nabofman.
This question become very interesting right now. We don't get how many names for this person. We don't get like 4 different names. We don't get one when are the obvious. We don't get 2.
Which one are the obvious, Stephen?
I don't know. You go talk like palava. Now me tell you, Bongai, you want to eat some back? You know, possible. But let's move on. Let's move on on the Samura Kamara analysis of this history.
Yeah, so but you say he care about renewable energy, and of course, and again, so this come back to Anti-Augusta been say, right? Anti-Augusta say waiting. He said we want water with waiting light.
Yeah.
And in talk say renewable energy or
all right. One thing where it also meets one other people that women in the stores of Peckham. Now Betty actually shed tears because in your
Betty
concern,
is my darling.
yeah, Betty in her health. And when he highlights health with what's the one in eye. Because that is the biggest, one of the biggest issue then we have to say Salon they suffer from. Poor healthcare of concern. Healthcare we feel say will be different by now. Healthcare we feel to say not too magic, but at the same time, if we don't slightly stabilize, not overhype. It's not sure. See, with healthcare system right now Salon needs a total revamp, not even half enough, full blown, because the biggest hospital in Sierra Leone, they face possibly the highest amount of disastrous deaths that will happen in the country, and is a huge concern. So
right.
when Betty mentioned healthcare, he cried because possibly, I'm not saying possibly she might have suffered some consequences of the bad healthcare in Sierra Leone. For make he remind himself say healthcare is an issue, and then he break into tears. That's very serious.
And boy, there's one thing I want for just remind Sierra Leoneans or with them, we're not familiar with the people the way Dr. Samura Kamara engage with. Because sometimes as Sierra Leoneans, we know they understand certain things. The people that we go engage with, these not to people that way they bigger to people. For example, Betsy don't own a business for over 20 years. They run successful business, right? And that community there. They buy from Sierra Leone and waiting. So beaucoup families na Salon depend on Betty in business success. These are self-employed people, not so bigger people. So they're not getting no reason for go talk to Dr. Samura Kamara or anybody waiting the one for Yeri. They will tell you what they feel because then they go big to you, not to either feed them, not to either clothe them, not to either do anything for them. Sometimes where the politicians then come, now they get for donate to the politicians and campaign them. But I just want to let people then know that, say, Sierra Leoneans that's in Peckham and other parts like Southeast and other business areas where you go, these are people that where they do very well for themselves and maybe better than 10 or 15, 20 government ministers where he puts them combined together, then salary and everything. They're doing very well for themselves in the UK. So not so bigger people. They have existing businesses where some of who don't sabi for over 20 years. Go ahead, Tiboy. I just want to highlight that.
Okay, I just want to highlight a few comments then at the YouTube chats. We favorite Mr. Wakado appear, and then he highlights some of your concern for the meeting. Anyway, the venue was too small and the question time was short. And I think he also highlighted the fact say the the organization of the whole thing was not that great, but because Walsey say yes, it was chaotic at the end, and we realized say much more should have been done in terms of putting up together an event like that for such crowd. I think the venue was small. I totally agree with him on that as well. But he also highlights say the timekeeping again also for the question time. Again, we don't highlight the question time stuff. It was too short. But that's not any concern we raise about the meeting itself. And totally we agree with that because those are some of the concerns that we also raise. But I think again, we might have possibly struggled to understand the minds of how people are getting involved in politics in the UK. So it was not really an APC event. Because if it was an APC event, I don't know if it is like only for that full. Because we all know, say, politics in the UK, APC wise, we see what happened at the election. You know, I mean, that's packed. It was just an election. I don't know. I not go there inauguration handing over ceremony, so I'm not going to tell you exactly how much crowd was anticipated compared to the fact that Dr. Samura Kamara gets a town hall meeting that for Sierra Leone. So I did not really think, say, the hall was big enough to hold the people that we've been needing at that particular point in time. I think that's also helped for create more chaos and much disorganized environment because there was so much happening because people were not able to sit, many people were standing, and it not being an environment where everybody go for sleep and pay attention because people they still struggle with few things around. So it was a challenging environment anyway. And I totally agree, say the organization stuff of things that were happening was not put together properly. But again, we should not be doing things like that because maybe they underestimated the events. They don't expect such amount of crowd to show up. That is why they go for. But JK Banquet is not a small hall. It's a hall. It's a capacity of maybe 300 to 500 sitting, and we get possibly half of that also standing. The entrance was
like you get over 1,000 people there.
I would say roughly about that. Not 1,000, but roughly towards 1,000, between 700 to 1,000. Yes, because the seating capacity is definitely up to maybe 400, and that is with table. It take about with tables. You take about 300 people with tables. Without tables, you go take up to 500, and we have a full blown seating capacity, and then we have a huge amount of people standing as well. But organization wise, I think they could have done better. And again, if they had put a serious thinking about the venue, maybe it would have been a bigger venue. But I think a lot happened within the shortest period of time. I don't know whether they knew he was coming.
That's a one for say again that the time frame, because even if you get the money for book a bigger venue, it depends on availability. Some of these venues you have to be on the waiting list for 6 months or book 1 year and Sunday as well. And Dr. Samura Kamara,
most activities can happen on a Sunday.
Exactly.
No Mondays.
And Dr. Samura Kamara said being get a packed program. So yeah, I agree with you that possibly they should have done better. But again, political events, it's difficult for they just put everybody under control for let them go keep quiet.
Oh yes, of course.
It is difficult. Yeah, but at least I agree with you. Say possibly if they don't think I'm through properly, maybe they underestimate the turnout.
Yeah, I think so.
But if they had them, for we don't get marshals inside it, then for don't get security.
There were no marshals. I totally agree. Yeah.
Then for don't get ushers there where they come, and then for don't allocate enough time for the question and answer, and they left the la-di-da for later.
No, but I agree strongly on that because again, when you look at the setup and people were there from they all been on full from 2:30.
So you tell me say one now airport people were waiting
10:30, 10:30, and the crowd was already bigger.
Right, and it was the same at the town hall as well.
From Reading, from Manchester, from Bristol, and I'm like, what did happen now? I was shocked anyway when I saw the crowd. I'm thinking, okay, I need for setup now because I wasn't ready to set up. I'm thinking, okay, we don't care early. Look, I'm making chill first. But it wasn't like that. As soon as I walked into the quad, I started to set up straight away because I knew it might be coming out anytime soon. And we stayed for about another hour and a half.
And it was a working day as well.
It was a working day. Yeah, of course, it was a working day. So it was an interesting evening. And I think overall, if we try for breakdown every activity into any form of grading pattern, I think the entire event was successful. It was challenging, but I think it was successful overall. It would have been done better, but again, it was still successful overall. We could have seen him to express himself a bit more and ask him more difficult questions, but again, it could have been done better. So there is a lot of room for improvement if he will have a second chance to come back to the UK. That is going to be different.
I don't think that will happen because of the timeline we then get for work with. So I be one for ask you, say, whose kind welcome you think, say, Dr. Samura Kamara will get, where they go salon back? And also, you think this engagement we can do, don't ginger him up for the campaign better than possibly how possibly come out salon for camp.
We all now so they wait for campaign period for start. Yep. Because what's the make they say so now based on few realities. We know say Salon officially, if campaign starts, we need to see nothing happen anyway. People in the wait for make official campaign start. We've seen few more members of parliament really vouch for seats. Already don't start their own on the road campaign. And we don't see the president don't visit all the provincial towns in Sierra Leone for say thank you. So that was a thank you tour. I will not specifically say in a campaign tour, even though don't say we use them for campaign, but it was a thank you tour. We have to say Dr. Anes Baiko myself do at some point. So officially, campaign haven't started yet. But campaign will start on the 21st, I guess. I heard.
Yeah, officially, yeah.
Officially 21st of May. So we will now see exactly how ginger up he is, how ready he is, what is going to be his campaign messages. Because this particular tour also, now a tour specifically was geared towards completion of the manifesto because he wanted to know what are the needs of the diaspora so that he will be able to coin some of his manifesto messages for fit what's in the diaspora the request for. So again, we go on for see exactly what thing will be the campaign message, what thing will be the content of the complete manifesto. We get for look at the manifesto and possibly break it down at some point if we can. I don't think the SFPP are going to run with a manifesto, right? They are going to run with continued promises, possibly, or continued achievements of what they have already put in place. We will possibly get for also analyze. We don't see the scorecard with the non-presidents. We don't begin to talk about few of the scorecard in few ministries. Them. So what's in Dr. Samura will possibly say to we now when he ready for running in campaign? Now the message way they run with now going for they will look forward to that message day. If not message will go for scrutinize, they will go scrutinize them and ask him questions on how they achieve some of them manifesto messages than the way he get for come up with. On electricity, you don't begin to talk about. On water, we don't know it. On health, we don't know it. On education, we don't know it. On youth empowerment, we don't know it. On job creation, we don't know it. But one thing I like to say, youth man them, don't begin pull things say, we want walk, no more kush. Yes, so that's now one of the things that he highlights. And if he highlight that, it means youth man and don't become aware or say, now we want to be employed. We might not be skilled, but what thing will be in policy on unskilled employments for the youth? We look forward for see that's not in manifesto. So for the fact that the manifesto not come out, I will not comment on anything we get for be in campaign messages to the people of Sierra Leone. That's right. Not one thing.
Except that two things where it all run with in terms of slogans. Now that's my Sierra Leone, my responsibility, and ready to lead. So it is shows say it take full responsibility in neck na the line for tot the salon aid. It not say elephant aid not to picking load, but it say my Sierra Leone. What? So it say my Sierra Leone, my responsibility. And that's a big one. But if he's willing to carry Sierra Leone as his responsibility, and then he's telling us that he's ready to lead, then I think we don't reach a point wherein Sierra Leoneans will have to decide. Sierra Leoneans then for think deep. Again, like I say, who that you want for decide about your health care, about food na table for you and your family, about you picking the education, about job, about quality of life, about peace, unity, and freedom for every Sierra Leonean, and about achieving your aspirations, what you want for do, what you want for achieve. It can be saying up mango tick you and kids that you want make. Now your aspiration, but at least let it space be broadened enough and conducive for everybody for do their own little thing. Not every Sierra Leonean get for learn that big book. Not every Sierra Leonean gets for be millionaire. Not every Sierra Leonean get all the luxuries in life, but all what people want now that basic first for make sure say they get good health, then they live in a clean environment, they're able to provide for their family, they get peace, then they go to bed with they know they want say that they can move you want for be in the future or which you want for the aspire for you picking them and your generation yet unborn. So I think if we don't reach here, I think we've done more than enough in analyzing Dr. Samura Kamara's visit to the UK, both from coming to the airport, going to the masjid, going to church, the community engagement, meet the people tour with the business community, and in community engagement town hall meeting, his international engagement, both with the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, any engagement with some members of the House of Lords, was his BBC interview. So, but that day out there for the public, except if T-Boy gets something around for talk about that, I don't know, but it's up to T-Boy. And we see Dr. Samura Kamara in high spirit, and I want to say the man sabi dance force.
No, you're not gonna compete with the Michael Jackson that will get through.
It shows that Michael Jackson will get. This started dancing video.
You get the Jason Donovan of nowadays. I bet so. But anyway, Juma, you asked if I want for highlight some of the BBC interview. Yes, there were two BBC interviews conducted. One was a video and the other one was a radio. I think the one that is out right now is the radio interview conducted by.
I see the television one out as well.
Okay, I'm not seeing it. But again, I was fortunate to be around whilst that interview was also conducted. And I think it was an interesting one too, because there were direct questions being asked towards him and what he says about the stuff that we then feeds a signal of concern to Sierra Leone and people of Sierra Leone. So basically, he addressed those concerns, and I think if you don't watch the interview, and I haven't watched the interview yet, so I think I need to find it so I can watch it. You want to send me the link, Lisa, please, I beg.
Yeah, so I see Mr. Kamara, Dr. Samura Kamara say for the first time, he said BBC, he said he beat President Bio na the 2023 elections. They beat them flat and they win the elections. Just like I talk and so now, so he talk on the BBC. He said they win the elections and they beat them flat. That was some confidence for somebody where 5 years ago people and they say, you know, Sabia. What do you think?
You see, the reason why I make our faith say you will get that kind of confidence there. You see, this election, we look at some normal in so many different ways. But if President Biole win this election, you're not for the worry about nothing right now. Because they say action speaks louder than voice. As far as me concerned, I should be relaxed and telling people about my achievements instead of me forming coalition. Forming coalition is not going to reinstate the confidence in people because the people who already form coalition are not so legitimate individuals in Sierra Leone anymore that can change the minds of Sierra Leone because they have betrayed their own corners in politics. So why would I want to trust their judgments going forward with you? I will not trust their judgment going forward with you. So instead of President Julius Maada Bio, they form allegiance with all these various different people within the politics of Sierra Leone. I think he should be telling people about his achievement, what he has done, what he intends now to do going forward within the next 5 years. But most of what he has said going forward within the next 5 years, we all know say in order for build 50 or 40 factories now about local. We all know say in order to give $50 billion to the people of Mafoki.
Therefore, call them $50 billion, not life
40 billion.
It's
$40
$40 billion and
for the $40 billion to the people there. And not forget it, build 50 factory about local. So these are some of the realities. And again, if you base your campaign on forming coalition where they put Salon Force, who are the personalities that you bringing on your platform? The likes of Kande Yumkela, the likes of Alpha Khan, the likes of Victor Fo. Are you serious? Are you really serious? Well, even
he will see
you don't tell me say he's always serious.
So see yourself, they ask you, they name the name, they say, T-boy, are you serious?
So to be honest, Juma, if I was President Julius Malabio right now, I should be telling people about my achievements. It doesn't matter how small that achievement is. I should be proud of it. Because again, we are saying that we've gone through challenging times in civil rights. So basically, we are giving excuses to COVID, we are giving excuses to the Ukraine war, and we are giving excuses to the economical concerns with the world gets. And President Bidio highlighted a couple of days ago, say he inherits a damaged economy, and also he inherits an economy where presidents, ex-presidents, and it's by Kumasi, we day into what? Austerity. So basically, if you have given us all those excuses as part of the reason why you haven't been able to achieve A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, you will still be able to tell us exactly what you have done. Or make we get we self-convinced for say, yes, you are capable to do the next 5 years and you'll be able to deliver on A, B, C, D. But as far as I'm concerned, for make Dr. Samura get confidence for challenge, say, it will win the next election and it will beat President Julius Malabio. Now, based on all the things somebody highlights,
I say flat. It's a bit and flat.
A bit and flat. Now, based on all the things I don't highlight, so if I was going into an election race with somebody who is tell me what he don't do for the past 5 years in office, and me not just an incumbent, me not just an opposition, I have nothing on me. I can tell you exactly what I'm going to do now because you're not holding me accountable for now because I am not in the office as of yet. I am planning to go into the office that somebody already who is there hasn't been able to deliver for you. So who are you going to be convinced with? With me, they can tell you exactly what thing I don't do for this same person 20 years ago. And now I don't say I don't do the same thing for 3 presidents. And then now they can't do the same thing now when they can't sit down at the office myself. Who do you go believe? If you're not a lane man, we blind you eye, you need to see who that you talk to, you only hear the voices, you don't even know who those voices are. Are you going to vote by the voice that convinced you, or are you going to vote by the voice that tells you otherwise?
Boy, you see, I don't know whether people are where they advise President Bill or where they draft or plan in speech and talking points, but they're not doing him justice. Or whether him not they listen to them, but they don't do him justice in any shape or form. When he campaigned during the benchmark, now the presidential debates, 2017, right? Was it 2017 or 2018? It was 2018. Can't remember now.
Early 2018. No, okay. It's 2017 and in December, I think.
No. It was 2018. It
was early 2018.
Yes. So
2021, yeah.
Yes. So because that was my benchmark for him, and that his speech was powerful, the people want change. The people are tired of the suffering. The people want change. Rice, the people are tired of buying a bag of rice, 200,000 leons. The dollar is now from 6,500 to 7,000, from 3,000 to 7,000. What you call them? What not the other thing we mentioned? Okay, talk about rest. You talk about the fuel.
Yeah,
fuel was 3,000 and now it's 6,500. So he mentioned all those things. The people are tired. The people want change. That's what President Bio promised the people of Sierra Leone 5 years ago. He did not promise us that I inherit a bad economy and austerity. Not to excuses he been promising the Kankiwi. He promised us change and a new direction. Anything short of that is unacceptable. If he thought as an opposition then that the people of Sierra Leone deserved change when the bag of rice was 200,000 leones, fuel 6,000 to 6,500, the dollar from 3,500 to 7,500, what did he think say the people of Sierra Leone deserve now, where rest now 700,000 leones for bag, the dollar is almost 2,500,000 leones, fuel is 21,000 to going to 25,000 leones. Waiting really, if is such in self-young conscience, waiting he really feels that the people of Sierra Leone deserve. Is it more excuses or change, a real change that will reverse all these problems that we in governments don't create? Because if you take credit for say, now you be all the key, when you don't open the key, now make Leon start a win now or the go Nations Cup. You take credit for that, but you make excuses for your government messing up the country, then you're not honest to the people of Sierra Leone. That is one thing. So now that because say, no, what is speech writer then can they right? Because like you say, what you supposed for the tell we now what you don't do, because we're gonna judge you on your record. And if you remember, when people started questioning him, his government and himself said it's too early. It's only 2 years. They need to give him chance and judge him when? At the end of the term, at the end of his term of office. So now people are asking you, what have you done in 5 years? Why are you for vex? You're not supposed to vex. That is one. Two, you mentioned, say, you don't do, what do you call the thing? Thank you tour.
Yes, a thank you tour.
For months now. What new thing is he going to tell the voters when campaign officially starts on May 21st? What new things that is he going to tell the people of Sierra Leone? Over to you. And also the
I requested, well, okay, not requested. I was told today that I will be given access to their campaign trail in Sierra Leone.
Whose campaign trail?
SABB campaign trail.
Oh, that would be nice.
Exactly. So I was told.
Please ask them to put it in writing.
Well, I will have to do that before anything else. I will have to do that because the reason why I was giving such a declaration this evening is because I raised concerns to say, well, if we are coming to Sierra Leone is to cover the elections and we want to be in the position to cover both political rallies.
Right.
But we will not be allowed. And the person said to me, who says that? I'm like, okay, are you saying to me we'll have the clearance to cover your political rallies or campaigns? He says, yes, why not? And we can even hang out. I said, fine, I know so we'll go hang out still, but would I have the access to cover your political rallies and your campaign messages? Because I will equally just go live and then just broadcast to the nation. As simple as that. I'm not going to, and then I will ask questions if I have to ask questions. And I will ask the viewers or people who are within the campaign trail about specifics of what has happened or within the campaign messages. Where are you? But I was assured today, this evening, that of course, yes, nobody will stop you. The campaign trail is public. and you are a civil union, and you have the rights to cover it, and you're also a media practitioner. So why not? Like you clearly said, I might want it in writing. But for come to you question,
tell them that we need it in writing, and the reason being because when government take over, we tried so many times for cover the commissions of inquiry and all of that. We have invited government ministers to come and discuss issues so that not like I say now they report, they've read and then push off, they're not a calm, and then they'll openly tell we say we're not APC media. So tell her put them in writing.
Yeah, I will. But again, for come to you, so you question we ask, what thing will be the message differently from what the president will tell people and that way he starts a campaign? I don't know. I cannot tell you exactly what is going to be his message. I think the reason for that now, the fact say we've already thank you. And to me, your thank you tour should be telling people what thing I don't do for now this community. I just want for can remind you now of
Yes.
And make you not forget say now with me 5 years in office now I do this for now. And we don't make this good for now. And we don't build this school for now. And we don't build this hospital for now. And I promise for do more. And if you vote me for the next 5 years, I go add the thing that I don't do for now already. We haven't had that.
All we got APC not give a chance for rule.
We haven't had that. Not just APC not give a chance for rule, but APC they get people away. They cost money, cost no money, no money in the But APC they do things their way. They ungovern the country. But APC they try for unseat the government. But APC and make clear what he make not talk about APC now. All these 5 years of holding government accountable, not the APC they not power. They are not our concern. Whatever APC do, APC not do, I don't really care. Because not APC sits at the office of the president of civil union. Now SFPP government. So basically, SFPP should be held accountable. We now APC media. That not really concern me because APC not to the end in power. APC, yes, the benefits from what they hold the governments accountable. But even APC saying they take advantage of that to the best of their ability because they're not doing it. So as far as we're concerned, the governments of the day, just like how normal the chief then say, then they serve the government of the day. Now you serve your mandate than the governments of the day and we hold accountable. We never know what's in the opposition they do. The governments of the day, then we hold accountable.
Now they get mandates.
Thank you.
For serve the people.
Change policies, or change the reality of civil unions, or change the dynamics of Usai Salon for head towards. Now they get a mandate today. And I make with hold them accountable. So as far as we're concerned, if the president gets any message where if for propagate to the people of civilian as voting it don't do, we they propagate that message too.
See why? With the old side to say for contempt that is side to say throughout the thank you to you know ever say thank you na any part of the country that from one blame to another.
It was true.
Side would they hold you for contempt.
No, but you see, if Saidu says so, now because Saidu is an average civil union we don't follow in tour all throughout this month.
Right.
And Saidu not going to talk this one.
For thank the people for where they've been believing you, for give you an opportunity for serve. With that same day, to the best of your ability, you don't do this. And this was a perfect opportunity.
Thank you.
Bio for being tell the people the way you go to say, remember how we tell us say, I don't complete all my manifesto promises from A to Z. I don't even give una bunya. So this thing I tell you for being begin now tell people them. Remember from the A to
Z, the thing that we don't do. Now the boya this. Remember to the Z we have been reach. Now the boya than the. Remember the promises that we have been say are they make for una. Now the boya this. So basically, I totally agree with you. All the promises that he has made within the past 5 years, before he even win the election and after he win the election, hasn't been actualized. Okay, the president said he'd give a new city, Nalungi. Will nobody expects airport, na bridge will expect. Bridge not come, but new terminal airport, or whichever you might call it, come. But guess what? It not come as an entity that belongs to civilian. It belongs to a private company. Okay. Every involvement of any achievement with the president do in the past 5 years is either donor related, not government institution that has built stuff. It's either a completed and an incomplete project will and complete by the previous government. I haven't seen nothing from scratch when our government funded projects. Even the free card distribution is a donation. It's not a government source of what? Not a government investment. And what's in that they do? It disadvantages the Ministry of Social Welfare. It disadvantages the Ministry of Health. It disadvantages the Ministry of Education because some of these kids are taking off their school hours to parade the grounds of playing field just for distribution of cards.
Until they see people stampede, people that they fall on, so they lost their lives or get permanent injury. That's it. They don't forget about them. Nobody know they follow up with them. Healthcare is none. Sometimes they go just aimlessly like that and no one knows.
Yeah, and even the presidential tour, even the presidential thank you tour, that money could have been utilized elsewhere instead of actually going all over the country to say thank you for what?
Well, I don't have a problem with the president going around if he feels in a campaign term and he wants to use the incumbency advantage, so be it. But tell the people what you have done for them, not to forgo threaten and make more excuses. Because for now, they say a place like Pujeon, just people believe say then they support APC, then go to away acid pan them. For what? Who still don't reach that? Yeah, for acid pan somebody because in decide for support a different party from you. You don't do those things. You know, it is sad. So
but Juma, to me, I think what Sierra Leoneans should be looking at currently now, what is in it for us in this particular politics of Sierra Leone as we is right now?
Exactly.
What is in it for us?
Yeah.
If you cannot actually identify what is in it for you, then what does that mean?
Right.
What does that mean? Because we have to be very mindful now of with thought processes of how we look at the things the way they unfold in front of you. What are the realities? What are the impossibilities? What are the flukes? What are the things they will look at and say, this is maybe a potential that can yield dividends in the short term, in the mid-term, or in the long term. As Iranian, that is what we should be looking at. Because if we fail to address most of the issues they are so we talk about right now, then the votes doesn't make any difference.
Exactly. So that's why I say for these elections, you know the votes because you elect APC or SLPP. You know the vote because you elect President Bio or Dr. Samura Kamara. This one, you the vote for you, right? You, the county boy ask, what is in it for you? How you vote will benefit you, your family, your community, and the country. So now you therefore decide, like how somebody can write, say waiting, if you believe say President Bio don't do well, you're comfortable with your life right now, and your status, and the way how your family day, your community day, you the country day, and if you believe say President Bio don't do enough for give you hope for achieve more, go ahead and vote for him. But if you believe say he not deliver nothing for you, it's up to you whether you want to vote for Dr. Samura Kamara because you want change and hope for the best, or you want for stagnate. and they will say you did. But tomorrow, whatever decision we make as Sierra Leoneans, we therefore hold ourselves responsible. We not they blame anybody. They say the people get the leader they deserve, not so. So not so we. Now we they make that decision. It's not about sentiment. It's about what is in it for you, as Tiboy say. Tiboy, let's try round up. As he say, we don't go along with this one, and we'll continue for out more programs there. But we just encourage people now, our viewers, to please subscribe both to the YouTube and Facebook, and also for make sure say then they share, because leading up to elections, and hopefully, like T-Boy stated, we'll be covering the elections live and all the campaigns. So this will be your go-to platform. We'll try for make sure say we day now every corner of Sierra Leone, if God agree, as you know, as much as possible. If light day, internet day, we'll try our level best. Huh?
No, Juma, I disagree with you. We get for make sure say light day. We get
No,
for
me
make sure say no. That now we on mandatory obligation now to reveal them out there.
Correct.
We get for make sure say
we'll publish and broadcast by all means necessary.
by all means necessary.
Right. But
We
with viewers then get forget lights.
Of course, we cannot deprive them of this opportunity of a life, because the way how we intend to cover this election possibly has never been done before,
right,
in our own community. Because the reason being, for as much as you guys have followed us for the past couple of years, for the one that we don't follow we for the past 15, 20 years, when we started this campaign on holding government accountable, and obviously we go let you down this time around for making sure that you guys are fully on board with the electionary process we get for unfold this year in a salon. The time we will step foot in Freetown, we will start broadcast to let you guys know we're here, and this is what we intend to do, and this is how we're going to do it. There are huge concerns about us going to Sierra Leone. Oh, then we'll go Oluna, then go X, Y, Z, Z. But guess what? Those concerns are taken into high consideration. But we are Sierra Leoneans, and we cannot be afraid to go back home and deliver for the people of Sierra Leone. We cannot shy away from some of these threats. Yes, it is of high concern. People have taken so much chances. People's lives are at risk going to Sierra Leone. But at the same time, that is possibly what some people want us to do. They don't want us to go to Sierra Leone. They don't want us to give you guys the information that you so desire. We know that it is risky. Some people have taken chances. Some people have been arrested. Some people have been in prison. But we are Sierra Leoneans. Are we going to be scared to go back home just because one or two people have been arrested? We're not making ourselves vulnerable to the situation that we possibly are going to find ourselves in. But we also have to be mindful of what we're going to be doing. We are holding government accountable, and I don't think that should be a crime. Again, the mouthpiece of the people of Sierra Leone can go in various different forms, can go in tabloid media, can go in newspaper media, can go in print media, can go in online media, can go on radio media. It depends on what sort of medium you choose to use. So therefore, be very mindful of some of the things that we decide to do, even though some of them are challenging, even though some of them are at high risk, because we haven't been able to practice media in Sierra Leone on a level playing field. This has been one of the most challenging media tension that we have ever had in Sierra Leone. We've never been faced with things like this before. For the past 30 years that we've been involved in politics and the media of Sierra Leone. But that should not mean we shouldn't participate. That should not mean we should not get involved. That should not mean we should not raise our voices about concerns. We are all doing this for the interest of Sierra Leone, for the interest of the people that cannot actually raise their voices and raise concerns of some of the disadvantages that they are going through. And again, it is not a section of Sierra Leone. We're talking about the whole Sierra Leone. Because when they sell one bag gets 700,000, that the entire salon they buy one bag gets 700,000. When they sell fuel 30,000 per liter or whatever the price might be, now the entire Sierra Leone they buy fuel 30,000 per liter. When they say dollar, now 2 point something million, now the entire Sierra Leone, they buy dollar 2 point something million. There is no section in Sierra Leone that is better than the other in any way, shape, or form economically. It is the same but across. Nothing has changed. No differentiation treatment. If we can get number one section of Sierra Leone that were discriminated against the other and then live a very happy and comfortable life, then we have a reason to focus in that particular area and ask questions why. If that has been the case, it is possibly even better because guess what? If another president takes over governance, they will focus on their own area and develop it as well.
And the country they develop.
Thank you. But that is not even the case here. So we therefore begin to look at some of them things also very seriously and begin to look at how much support can we give each other if we're talking about the things that concern civilians. We all have our opinions about how we think, how we do things, how we assess things, or how we analyze things. But our opinions are never going to be the same. What we should look at is what we need to do collectively to effect change in Sierra Leone without our opinion being part of the agenda. Collectively, we can make things happen. Collectively, we can advance the discussion for politicians to be aware of some of the lapses that they have on both sides, on APC, on SLPP, on any political divide. But if we don't hold them accountable for their actions, we are failing ourselves as a nation. We don't see what's now happen in this country. Now, an Indian Pakistani, they rule UK. And guess what? The whole of the United Kingdom is being ruled or governed by foreign people who are not English, indigenous English people. In Scotland, it's not English. In the UK, in London, in London, it's not English. In Ireland, it's not English. Can you imagine that? The whole of the UK sovereignty is being governed by what I would say, by ethnic minorities. Will that ever happen in Sierra Leone? That is the opportunity and privilege and what I would call them of what we call democracy. It's not because you are a foreigner. It's not because your parents migrated or your parents are migrants into this country will disadvantage you to take up certain offices. What I believe when it comes to vote on the day is a different story. But guess what? We had 2 elections in Scotland and in Ireland. Well, not yet in London to prove that, but in Ireland and in Scotland, they voted for the leadership of those 2 representations. And they were voted for. And they were both members of the migrants community with a lead them to nationally. Do we ever think we will have something like that in Sierra Leone? Hell no. But guess what? That is what we want. We want a Sierra Leone that is inclusive, a Sierra Leone that is open to discussion, a Sierra Leone that can have political divisions, not because they want to hate each other, but because they disagree and agree to policies that will benefit Sierra Leone. If we begin thinking like that, Salon small, less than 7 million, and not even feel so past 7 million. We are less than 7 million as a nation. Very small country to be governed. We are rich in so many things. And one of the other policies we are for bring come back, with Dr. Samura Kamara highlights by internal meeting, and the fact say we should stop not thinking say diamond and gold is the only form of economic resources in Sierra Leone, because then the thing that we easy for like them smuggle, but you cannot smuggle a ship of iron ore, can you? No. So his focus is now
depending who is in governance.
Well, I say no more. I leave
because depending who is in governance. Because
I agree with you for making me round up. So
no, let's say it quick. The Tom Connelly box sites where them be mine, where they left, where King Hob or whatever mining company left. And smuggle come on at the country, they care and go. Timber, them big secret, they smuggle and come on. So that make the way they say you for the make disclaimer, depending on who is in governance, then they smuggle.
I don't know that you.
Now what do they wake cutting tree will not meet again, they don't tote cutting tree can go. It then a ship go China or somewhere else. Carry yourself.
Yeah. Well, again, like I say, Daniel, I don't know, but I want to see how positive a fleet, well, a container or a shipload of iron ore out of
I don't tell you, say the bauxite. Ships, loads, containers, loads of that. Then take an account with a TFAM. Take it then able for account for tell we outside and can go almost then sell out. And I'm not making this up. Imagine at a time where there was a sanction on the company where don't mind the thing. They left and the government bring other people like and smuggle and commodity. It wasn't accounted for.
All right, Juma, I agree. I will investigate that because I don't know what you talk about. So I'll go find that out myself.
Please do go find that.
Make I get living evidence, facts, evidence of what you don't say. Send me the link if you have it, but I will find out myself.
It and I'll tell you.
Okay. Well, let's wrap up and end today's program. And what's going to be your message to viewers them, and what's that you take for this particular program we don't do today? We will analyze Dr. Samura Kamara's visit to the UK. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much to viewers them all over the world where they watch. We appreciate you now, and it's been a lively banter here, the discussions, the comments. It make we think outside the box. So it's been a wonderful program. Me want for say the analysis today, like how you say T-Boy, that if we had done this in 2018, 2017, 2018, or leading up to the 2018 elections, we not for don't face the problem they already face today, so it's President's bill. So this is the right time to ask your leaders, ask questions, critical questions, hold them accountable to their statement, then force them or tell you waiting they want for do for Salon. We matter to you, both the incumbent and the opposition. They have to come out with statements and be bold enough, confident enough for tell we, waiting not to for gloss over wallpaper and just speak fancy English by we or use big terminology, ultra modern, superficial, 50 factories. If somebody tells you they build 50 factories, ask them how are you going to build this? If they tell you say they don't give $40 billion to a community, ask them who side the money come out, where we all suffer people and they go to bed hungry, where we know for say if we get 40 billion, we they build 10 hospital now every district, ultra modern hospital now every district, all man we go get good road, now all remain roads and all of that. If Dr. Samura Kamara tell you say a one for can bring solar energy as a means of energy production, so we will forget sustainable electricity, ask him how he intends to do that. Not so for just here, no more clap, yay, no. It should go beyond that because we made a mistake when BBC asked President Astafulai, President Bio, how are you going to pay for the free education? What he tell BBC? He say no count the paper. No, so I don't have the statistics here. So, but we Sierra Leoneans not ask him for that. Where Hassan Aruni at the presidential debate ask him, but how you going to do? He say, come again. I can't hear you. Because they wait for them prompt him. Now the other side where they high for answer the question. So these are all the things. Ask your leaders, hold them accountable, because now you get for feel the pinch. Now you get for go to bed hungry. Now you picking go sick, you can't go to hospital, blood no day, water no day. Now you picking no go able for go school because you're not able for pay money, even when they send a free education. Now you not go get job for provide for your family for eat, then una all scatter. God forbid, una picking them end up turn prostitutes. The young man they not get work for do then turn kush smokers and all of that. The people away there in authority, they don't picking them go live the luxurious life where they want for live. They go then a condition mutka. So now me and you, this is the time to engage. Make politics your business. I'm not saying you have to be a politician, but you have to be part of the process. Search your conscience. Not just follow with the other person they say. CRGM Media don't promise say we will cover the election process from the campaign to elections day to counting and all of that to the best of the knowledge. And we don't commit say we will continue this conversation now because too hard for talk, but now in no more they bring peace. Until next time, me Juma Bade say tata and over to you, T-Ball.
Thank you very much, Juma, for that summary there. I not say your summary was not long, but I think say you hit the points that we want for hit, and you don't highlight the concerns of voting this particular election means to every civil union, and voting at the team where you for hold up for Dr. Samura. If he tell you say he do XYZ, ask him for make it break down because you make examples of the questions they will feel for ask President Julius Maada we get the presidential debate 2018. I believe say the civilian will do look forward to now the civilian will for be inclusive for each and every civilian, whether it is salon or not, as long as you carry a civilian passport, not necessarily mean say you know good civilian, but again you get full representation. So get for look at some of the things that we now of concern as civilians, especially civilians in the diaspora. We've seen us being disadvantaged by both political parties at some point, but also both political parties don't employ a huge amount of diasporans, then we don't take office. In this current government, we get possibly 50% of the ministers or head of parastatals, then we people from the diaspora. And I think it's very important for me we also know say, as much as we have been used to take up certain offices, then we don't get so much bad name for. We also know say the importance to the development of civilian is of very high importance. So look, we not take them for granted, say, because some of we they go in the government office who forget to solve commot, and we told the line of putting that the thing that they happen as long to the norms, for try for change their lifestyle and because as much as they contribute to civilian, we will also help for destroy salon at some point. So we therefore know very clearly what's in our mandates as people from the diaspora. We need to make they highlight some of these things now because again, we don't know what's in the next government get for hold on people of the diaspora. We know how to make the diaspora also can be another influence. So maybe Dr. Samura Kamara in government, and it can be another form of negativity we will therefore begin to see just within the first year of in governance, if not get for win the election. But again, we will not sit by, we will not go allow that for happen this time around because as soon as you win election, if you get for win election, then we begin watch and see what's in the happen. In government appointments, in ministerial appointments, in anything we get for do, it determine exactly whether this is going to be a formidable government that will effect the change of Dr. Samura Kamara agenda or otherwise. But I want to extend my thanks and appreciation to everybody who watched me so far. And I want to say thank you to all for joining us this evening, even though today, not to be regular day, we would normally get to program them because how they go inside the match, you will see Samura Kamara in trip to the UK and how we feel to say he perform in internal meetings, them and other engagements, then he gets himself involved in. I want to say thank you again once more for the one that we done the follow week all throughout this week in all those different activities that they will cover for Dr. Samura with Samura Kamara. And I want to make one for say we possibly haven't been given the opportunity to cover President Julius Maada, and we don't act. So we are not one-sided in terms of approaching people. We are not one-sided in terms of coverage. I can always say when doors are open to you, it means you are allowed to work in. And when doors are closed at you, it means you're not allowed to work in. Even though sometimes you might be knocking, it can only be open if somebody answers it. So we want to say thank you to viewers and once more for your continued support. We want to say thank you to your collective collaboration in terms of your comments and suggestions that you make on the chat line, both on YouTube and Facebook. And I want to say thank you to all the one away. The question a lot of what we do because yes, we are also accountable of what we are saying here. And if we say things that we will not agree with, we will get issues about, and I can challenge them, and then we can discuss them a bit more. We don't get series of different discussions that we don't hold on this platform. Sometimes they question the evidence of what we're talking about. Sometimes we make evidence available. Sometimes we talk about things that we just analyze because we already say these are documents that are out there to the public domain, but people fail to analyze those documents properly. So what do they do? We break down the documents into various different areas, and we actually analyze them for people to understand exactly what it means. So we want for continuing for say thank you for following us. We want for continuing for say thank you for your contribution, and subscribe and like our page, so when we come on live on subsequent events and we will not go possibly announce or advertise, you'll be able to watch us just like what happens this week. And we say thank you for all those that supported or follow us, and the one that we also share, we program them. We say thank you to all, and we appreciate our efforts. This effort is not just on us, it's on every civilian that mean well for civilian. So once more, Dr. Samura Kamara don't possibly head back to Freetown to Sierra Leone. Maybe he go reach Sierra Leone tomorrow morning, and we'll be able to see exactly what think could be the outcome of in return visit. Well, not return visit, of in return back to the home soil, and what think could be the response of the people of Sierra Leone for welcome, whether it's going to be held ransom or hostage again or not, we yet to know. But we're not anticipating of that to happen anymore, because the president, we don't say, we don't open the political space. We know they kill again. Now, free participation of the politics of Sierra Leone. We are all looking forward towards that statement, and we want to see the action of that statement being put in active force, not negatively. So for that reason, I'll go say thank you and have a good night's sleep, and possibly have a nice weekend. It's not a bank holiday, but I think we get one more bank holiday to come. So no oversleep this weekend, or not drink and drive. Stay within your focus, and then deliver what you have to deliver as a father, a mother, a friend, a partner, and a colleague. Until next time, have a good night. Tata.